Hello, everyone, and welcome out to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 28. I'm AJ.
I'm Steve.
Steve, we are joined by our two really good friends here, Mr. Bryan Kirkman and Mr. Sean Preston.
Yay!
Our first time having guests. So, guys, introduce yourselves.
At least on mic.
Yes, that's true, too. Yeah, we talked about you guys a lot on here, but introduce yourself clockwise.
I believe that is my direction. I would be Sean Preston. Just had a wonderful ride across town over here. Thankfully, not nearly as far as Mr. Kirkman over here.
What about you?
Mr. Bryan Kirkman. I did fly in from Clover. It only took me about an hour and a half to get here.
All right, cool. And we're going to go ahead and slide your mic
A little bit closer to my mouth.
Yeah, something like that. So we can hear that sexy baritone voice. So this is pretty free form. They're about to find this out too. But we usually say what we're drinking. Steve doesn't have a beer in front of him, and he needs to remedy that ASAP. Somebody get this man a beer.
In the bag, one of the ghost hammers.
Oh, right.
Are you on the square? Are you on the level? That's Square Hammer from Ghost. While Steve's getting a beer, Sean and I both are drinking a Bayou milk stout in honor of Fat Tuesday, which I guess today is Ash Wednesday, which is cool because I didn't put any lotion on my elbows, so it's Ash Wednesday over here, guys.
I mean, it's close enough, right?
It's something like that. So I don't usually read the descriptions. Sean, tell everybody a little bit about this beer on the label.
In an ode to the Bayou, the silky, smooth, creamy milk stout is blended with a New Orleans-style coffee, cold brew, chicory, and a touch of maple. I don't even know what that is. Laissez le bon. I'm sure Karin is going to yell at me.
Karin definitely knows that.
Quoi?
Yeah, exactly. It is a 5.6%, and it is brewed in San Francisco, California. So this beer is a liar. It is not from the Bayou.
Bayou.
Born in a gold mine. Born in a gold mine.
It is, however, delicious.
It is really good. Mr. Kirkman, what are you drinking?
I, because I'm a recent South Carolinian, went and purchased a Legal Remedy Double Indemnity Double IPA, 8.6%, and as the can says, twice the payout.
Nice.
It is delicious. It has a bold, hoppy blend of grapefruit and tropical notes. We slipped 2 batches of hops into this IPA when lawyers weren't looking, and now we're bragging about it. Right here on the label. We were never fans of the fine print anyway, so you get twice the payout.
And Steve, what are we drinking?
The Stone Ghost Hammer IPA, courtesy of Stone Brewery of California and or Richmond, VA.
Yes.
It's, requisite gargoyle on the bottle. A fermenting beer never slumbers. Consequently, there is always scattered activity tending our precious beers throughout the dark hours. In these late nights and wee hours that hallowed responsibility falls on the shoulders of overnight brew crew, these brewing vanguards brave the long nights, often alone, to do what needs to be done. Most areas of the brewery are dark or in the shadows. Throughout the night, the cellars resonate with the occasional knocking, expanding, and contracting pipes. It can be a bit spooky to hear the brewery creak and groan as if possessed by a spirit randomly knocking about with a mallet. This IPA, brewed with a striking array of hops, honors our intrepid overnight team by naming after their mischievous poltergeist companion, the Ghost Hammer.
Ooh. So we got a action-packed, I guess it would be action-packed episode today, full of cars and beer and music. It's almost like this is what the podcast is supposed to be about.
What? When did this shit start?
And we got a lot of studio swag in here with the Power Glove, the Zapper, lots of cars, an Erector set dragster. Steve brought this little ditty last time.
Nice.
Don't call it Walkman at the GE.
My whiskey's in the way of all the swag.
Oh, no.
Move it.
Whiskey's not ever in the way. It's never in the way. So Mr. Preston here is a BMW owner, and he's one of the ones actually like.
Well, I use my blinker, so that sets me apart from most people.
I'll believe it when I see it. Bryan said he doesn't know much about BMW, so join the club, Bryan. Neither do I. Other than Sean's the only BMW driver besides, I guess, Chris Anthony has one, too.
Mm-hmm. He does.
I've not seen his.
I think it's because I'm not that successful at life. I just don't own that.
Chris also has a vibe as a daily driver, so he's in my tribe as well.
I feel like if you were running the concourse at the Pontiac Vibe Museum, you would be the vibrator.
Ooh.
I bet he gets a tickle from that.
Ooh.
Nice.
A French one, but not from cars.
Hey.
What is a French tickler? Anybody?
I've never had to use one.
I think it's got like an extra point on the end.
Ooh.
Oh, is that called bifurcation? Because I know something about that.
Ooh.
Nice. Just remember, it's in and then towards you, where you feel for the walnut.
Oh. It's there.
Yes, it is.
So can I just say fuck now? Is that
You can say fuck.
Okay, good.
We've said so much shit. Like, I've only very rare.
I figured if you're going straight G-spot, I could say whatever the fuck I want, right?
You can.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off now.
G-Spot, our hometown?
Oh, truth.
But does anybody get any pleasure from that place?
You do.
You know, the brewery scene doesn't suck, so yes.
Well, yeah. It didn't you say it used to be Green's boring?
It used to be much duller place, but this was also before the breweries and before I could really do much of anything. So, to be trapped in northern Greensboro, or I can go ride my bike and throw rocks in the creek.
That sounds like an episode of The Wonder Years.
What would you do?
I seem to remember doing very, very naughty things in the woods in Greensboro. That's what my memories were.
Poking dead bodies with a stick?
It's true. The best things in life are free.
What about the birds and the bees?
Wasn't that the... Oh, never mind. I was thinking the mamas and the papas.
Nice.
It's the diet version. Mr. Preston, we're going to... I think Steve and I decided a long-ass time ago, like episode 2 when we were going to have guests, that we were going to go through automotive history. So we'll go... we'll go Kirkman. We'll go Kirkman first. We're going to go alphabetically. So, Mr. Kirkman, go through your entire auto history. And Steve, do we include? We're just including cars that were technically yours, or not in the family, but your cars.
I dished out the everything because I never had neither Volvo nor the 87 nor the Blazer were registered to me, but everything after that were.
So not necessarily registered, but if you were the sole
basically
driver.
Everything that you drove on the regular.
Okay. If you were the sole driver of the vehicle, even if it was bought for you.
They don't have Kias.
So,
If I ever had one of those, I'd get the license plate less.
Yes.
So everyone in my family was a sole driver of this vehicle at a very different time. And so it was the Chevrolet Nova. I cannot remember the year because I wasn't a car guy, but I remember that car was indestructible because it had to be, and everything about the finish was fucking terrible. Whenever I would wash the car, and I'm doing, Miyagi-san here, I would come off with blue color, and I'm like, oh, there's no point in washing the car because I'm taking the paint directly off. And I love that car because it got 40 miles to the gallon. It would spit out like bright blue smoke, which I do not understand. But
Mine started to do that too.
It was great because it got me from point A to point B and taught me how to drive a vehicle. Very short car. I remember getting into an accident in that car, and we got hit by a truck that was hauling logs, and the radio flew out of the car into the back seat. It was a lap belt. My sister's in the back, and she had a lap belt on, and she buckled up like a damn taco, and my dad hit the steering wheel through the fucking seatbelt and broke like 5 ribs. It was fucking terrible. That car was a little bit of a death trap.
All right, so you don't remember what year? You don't know 70s, 80s?
I think it was a Corolla Nova because no Chevy Nova would get that kind of mileage. So I think that was actually the great granddaddy of my car.
We owned that car so long that we only had to, when it was not passing inspection in the great state of North Kakalaki, we had to wait 1 year for it to become a 25-year-old vintage car before we could re-register it. That's how old that car was. But for my cars, I worked my entire, since I was 14 in restaurants.
Was it that?
Yes, it was a little bit. I think it was a model year older than that.
That is terrible. I don't even remember that one.
Dude, it was
The proto Geo Prism.
So that's the thing. It was a lot smaller than that little car. The front end was a lot smaller that I recall. That I worked my entire restaurant career making money and squirreling it away to try and buy my own car, and I bought an '87 Honda Accord with the flip-up lights.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
We love pop-ups here.
Dude, it was great, and I wrecked the shit out of it in an ice storm. I felt so bad. But I drove it until I drove it for a year. The next car, I went back in time. Usually you just keep progressing forward. Not this time.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I got an '86 Chevrolet Celebrity, and I drove that throughout high school and college. And that thing was an absolute piece of shit. Sometimes I had to open up the choke and get it to start, shit like that, for just a long time. And after that, when I got at college, I actually went and bought a 2001 Subaru Outback, and that was like 2005-ish. And so it was a 4 or 5 year old car at the time. It was nice. And then
Was that this? Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but is that the start of the love affair? Okay, I got you.
yeah, the start of the love affair with Subarus, because I was looking at cars and I was like, you know what? That's a car that I can afford. And it worked great because I was going to move to Tennessee and live in Super Valley Snowland.
It's far side of Boone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right. Johnson City, right?
Kingsport.
King-
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Same diff.
It's the model city.
Really?
Of what?
Revel car models. You have to
was
build them
terrible.
yourselves.
It was a great place to live. The beautiful Bobby Eaton is from there, a famous wrestler. Home of the Pals, which is kind of like a burger chain.
The Pals?
The Pals.
All right. I've never
Okay.
heard of that.
Oh, the peachy tea.
It's so purple onion.
So, yeah, and so that car saved my life. This Subaru saved my life. I was with my ex-wife, who was pregnant at the time, and I was trying to get to church, going up a mountain, and it was sleeting and snowing, and I was going backwards, and the all-wheel drive kicked in, and I was able to control it enough to hit a guardrail instead of going off the mountain.
That's good.
Yeah, and so after that, I was pretty much a loyal fan. So when my old one got done, I got myself a new 2015 Subaru Outback.
And
Are
you
you
still
still
have that
driving the older Outback?
Actually, that one's still alive, and it's living with my parents.
My dad had a '96, and there was no love affair with that car. It was the original Paul Hogan model. The original one with the saber-tooth fog lights, I like to call them.
That's not a blown head gasket. That's a blown head gasket.
Mechanically it was okay, but
I did blow a head gasket.
and that's why no longer allowed at the Subaru dealer.
Oh, boy. By the way, don't be alarmed if I keep on looking over here. I'm just making sure everything's recording, because if we sit here and do this and it doesn't record, some of it will be fucking pissed. By the way,
by the way, this doesn't record.
off mic, we were talking. I picked random colors. Now everybody's a pastel color for Easter, which
What had to be Mr. Pink?
for at least 50% of us doesn't really mean anything. I'm not sure about the other 50%, but this is the CBG podcast, not the CBGR podcast. So we're gonna keep it lighthearted. So that's
CBR podcast. We're talking about motorcycles now.
CB Radio podcast by CB Radio. So is that your entire? That's
4 vehicles.
That's incredible.
That's why I could take a little bit longer to discuss it, because it's just 4.
Oh, that's incredible. Steve and I did that the very first episode, and we were discussing our
about 10 each.
Yeah.
Well, I got you beat. I also have 4.
No way.
Yeah, just 4.
All right, well, tell the people.
So my first vehicle at 16 was a blue and silver 1984 Mustang. It was the V6 version, so it had very little balls to it, but it was fun for me. It also had the wonderful one-tire rear drive, so you could do some
One-wheel drive.
great half burnouts, which is also subsequently how I ended up cracking the crankshaft in half through one of the lobes. Yeah, that was not fun. Did a lot of put it in neutral and just drop it down into drive.
Oh, of course.
Wah! Boom. Well, so one day, it kind of made a weird noise after I did that. And I, of course, did not tell my father what happened or how. And unfortunately, previous to this, he had open heart surgery maybe 3 weeks prior to it, right? So he crawls under the car, being the guy that he is, and he's like, all right, go ahead and crank it. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on with it. So I'm starting to crank it, and he looks around the front, and he's like, uh-oh. He was like, Sean, come take a look at this. And he comes around, he tries to start the car, and I can just see the fan coming in and out of the engine because as the crankshaft was trying to rotate, it was just forcing it out. So that one, it actually had close to 300,000 miles on it for a Mustang. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
especially 450, but that took
with my brother driving it before me. So
heyo,
yeah. So that was the end of that. That lasted me about year and a half maybe. And then I moved on to a 91 Camaro. Also, coincidentally, blue and silver. Yeah. The Mustang was a dark blue. The Camaro was a metallic light blue. So it had some nice little flake in it. So that was nice. It also was a T-top. So that was my beginning love affair with open roof vehicles.
I've never had a T-top car.
It's pretty good.
It's kind of like a sunroof with a thong strap.
I mean, it holds it together a little bit.
Just don't look at
the
me.
whale tail. That would be a Porsche whale tail. Come on.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I didn't know how to process what you said, and I was thinking red thong the entire time. I don't know why.
Red.
No, it was
It's
blue.
because that's what color I have on.
Oh, that's why.
That's why. That is exactly why. That's you're still going.
Oh, yes, I do have a couple. So that one was it was an RS, but it was a 305. So it had some power, but not much. I was able to spin both tires, so that's good. Because it went from an 84 to a 91. It was automatic. It was power nothing. So I didn't even have a power release button for my trunk.
Nice.
I had to get out and use my key to do it and roll the windows down.
There was not even a trunk latch?
There was nothing.
Jeez.
There was nothing in it. However, it was a pretty fun car. The T-tops were glass, so they were very heavy, and you stored them in the back, so that was a pain.
Was there somewhere to set them so they didn't slide around?
Yeah, so they came in like this little case that you could put them in with a piece of fabric that would be in between the two T-tops so they wouldn't rub against each other.
Cool.
And then there was a spot you could strap it down to the trunk. Unfortunately, it took up the trunk.
Of course.
When you did that. But later, a little bit down the road, my father and I built a enclosure out of the trunk. So I don't know if you know about the back of Camaros. There's this really big dip.
Generous amount of glass in the back of that.
Well, yes. Outside of that, right behind the exhaust, there's just like a giant area of just a cavity, and it made the perfect spot to make an enclosure because then you could have the woofers over that, so the air would be inside of there. Mm-hmm. Well, we also had it so we could hinge, so I could lift it up, put stuff in there, but then I could also put the T-top still on top of it. Well, fast forward to 2001, freshman year of college. I'm sitting at an intersection. Some lady decides that she doesn't like my car, and she rear ends me. Totals her car, my car, the car in front of me, and damaged the one in front of that. Fun fact, I was able to then proceed to drive this car back to Fayetteville from Charlotte.
In that setting condition,
I tied the hatch, the rear hatch down, and the exhaust up, and it was functionable. Sure,
functionable.
To go back to Fayetteville. My father, he followed me the whole way back, but woo. So yeah, it ended up like shattered the the front right corner of the windshield, even though it got hit in the back. It just it twisted the entire frame. It was fun.
Did you totter?
It was a little leany. Leany works, yeah. That's a
Leany.
good descriptor. But the bad part was I didn't even realize I got hit until I was looking at the car in front of me, and all of a sudden I was looking through the T-top. And I was like, well, this is abnormal. And then I realized, wait, I'm laying down, and my seat had broken. Also, the airbag did not deploy. Wonderful. But I mean, it was still in one piece. Totaled out. And then
wait. You drove this car with the seat broken. So were you in a half sit-up the entire way?
You put some boxes behind it or something to stuff it, right?
It actually went back up like it was normal.
Okay, because I can just imagine the cardio that you must have had.
My abs were ridiculous. You would have no idea now.
No, don't sell yourself short, man.
I have one left.
Yeah, one is plenty. Hey, you're number one. There's only one where to go. One place to go now. Go down.
Did that car also have abs? I mean, anti-lock brakes.
I think I don't remember. Probably.
So that was
Wait,
all
80,
the rage. 91.
91. So.
Probably.
So,
my Starion
the
had
11th year of the 80s.
but it had rear wheel only ABS.
Because that makes sense.
Mark said it's because of sliding.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean that's better than
prevent it from.
Yeah, that's that. I ripped it out anyway.
Nah, well, perfect. Who needs that shit?
Well, it didn't have an
just
airbag.
weighed you
It didn't
down.
even have airbag.
It just
like
weighed you down.
Starion didn't have an airbag, so they were like, fuck it." Their plan for that was don't have a wreck.
Those early motorized seatbelts, yo.
Had the motorized seatbelts that never malfunctioned.
Oh, is that the ones that came up over the wind, like the Saturn?
And they had turbo written on them. Turbo. That was so 1980s. It was so great. I wanted to do coke off the rearview mirror so bad. So now,
all right. I bought that car for $3,500, and once it got totaled out, I got $5,000. So I actually made $1,500 off of that car.
fuck yeah,
Yeah,
it was because of the enclosure.
pretty much. Yeah, except that I took that with me. It was still functional as well.
No, it was functionable. So now your new slogan we have it for you is functionable but leany.
That is actually very apt, especially if I've been drinking. The more, the better. So
Over
yeah,
here.
with that $5,000, I then turned around and bought a '92 Camaro, also RS 305.
Therefore, your box would fit.
I mean, partially.
Did it have T-tops?
It did. This though was all one solid color, and it was a wonderful Hawaiian orchid. It was a beautiful purple color.
Ooh.
Sounds like a stripper's name.
I mean, I did buy it from a lady. Now, I got it from a guy. He was the second owner. The first owner had it for 8 or 9 months, and this guy had it for the rest of its life until I bought it. And I proceeded to put about just under 100,000 on it. So it finally died just a little under 200,000 miles on it.
That's a good run.
Yeah. The one oddity that it had was a malfunctioning gas gauge. I believe you guys discussed one of those before. So you're intimately acquainted with it. So this one was, if I got to a half a tank, it was empty. And if I ever went just past half a tank, the gauge would actually finally go to empty. But at that point, it was too late. I'm already coasting.
Sounds like my granddad's 91 S10.
I ended up running out of gas twice. One time on campus at UNCC, and one time as I coasted into the gas
I was
station.
going to say, that's
to get
half
gas.
hills, so maybe you're in luck.
No, it was in a bad spot. It was on a hill, and I needed to go uphill. It was like all the hills were going away from me.
I was going to say, it's like, bad spot. Oh, yeah, Martin Village, rest in peace.
But the cop finally came by, and he watched me push it off to the side to where it wouldn't get hit. He did not help.
Was it raining or snowing?
No.
So he was just a dingus.
It was a pretty nice day. He did eventually take me up to get some gas, so that was nice, I guess. So yeah, that's how I learned out about the whole gas tank functioning or malfunctioning. Now, the other interesting thing with this one is it did not have glass T-tops; it had Lexan, so they were significantly lighter. And that's when I figured out how I could take the T-tops off from inside the car and just said screw putting it in the back, and I just threw it in the back seat. That was a lot easier.
I mean, it's technically shatterproof.
Yes, yeah. And this one actually had power windows, power trunk release, and all that stuff. So I stepped it up in the world. That lasted until I spun a rod bearing. And then I proceeded to take well over a month to find a new car. Because I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a very, very picky person. So I will wait until I find what I want before I actually buy it. I drove a Prius for that intermeeting month. And also very briefly an SSR. Thanks, Doug,
Whoa.
for that. Well, it was Doug, as you know, Jess's boyfriend.
Yeah.
He was kind enough to lend me both of those because I don't know if you know about this about Doug, but he has an entire fleet of vehicles. He could probably outfit a nice rental car facility with that the amount of vehicles he has. So that was fun. The first time I tried to drive the Prius and start it and keep going. I think you talked about the whole auto start and shut off thing.
Ugh.
Well, it's even worse with the Prius because you can't hear it.
Yeah. There's the ready light, and that means it's running.
Yeah, that's about it.
No, a simple, a light saying on would also work.
Yes, some sort of notification that was, brighter.
It could be stranger.
Bryan's
these modern Luxo bars with their fake engine noise. Just don't bother.
It's fucking awful.
It's.
Where they
have you experienced it?
I have, and we got to call this out as it goes. Bryan, what'd you just crack open?
Oh, I just cracked open a Trogues Java Head Stout, brewed with coffee beans. So I went up to the Philadelphia region and Pennsylvania for those people. It is the release. It is the release that is. It's kind of like the Foothills chocolate stout. What is it? The sexual chocolate,
baby.
It's their version of that. Ooh. And so it's a little rare. They don't distribute it everywhere. And when true story, when I flew back through customs and through airports, I got a call and said, I need to speak with a Bryan Kirkman. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in so much trouble. And what they said is, there's shit leaking out of your fucking bag. And we think you're a terrorist, and we just have to notify you.
No, I'm just an alcoholic.
I'm like, it's just beer. It's just beer. And they're like, yeah, we know. But they're like, yeah, it's your shit's off. Your shit's screwed. Everything's covered in beer. And so I'm like, thank you. And so they put it onto the plane, and I pull it out, and I open it up, and it's none of the glass. It's the cans I brought back. But I was like, that's weird. But yeah, so that survived. But here it is, guys.
All right.
Clinky, clinky.
Happy Fat Wednesday.
All right. I'll get on the treadmill.
That's really good. It's not as sweet as I thought it would be.
It's got a hint of hop to it for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
No, it's really good.
That's different.
Where is Trogues?
Jersey.
It is. It's okay. The brewery is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's where you. Okay.
Right. So I went up to Harleysville, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. And so it's relatively close to Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, I flew into Philadelphia, which is nowhere close to the hotel.
Dead opposite
which is
side.
The dead opposite side of the state. And so I ended up driving 5 hours at 3 in the I got there at 3 in the morning, and it was terrible. That first day of class, I was completely confused.
Now, it does say Hershey, Pennsylvania on the bottle.
This doesn't take chocolatey.
Not really.
It's more coffee.
Mm-hmm. Still not a bad gig.
Good.
And I got coffee for Kirkman, and he forgot to bring him some up here, but it's down there waiting for it. Hey, it stays warm for 2 hours, so it's not like it's gonna just go cold on you.
So speaking of coffee, something you guys need to know about me in podcast land. I'm a little strange because I drink coffee, water, and beer, and Steven is probably going to be designing a fancy tattoo for me that's probably in the shape of the biohazard
Pyramid.
sign
Yeah,
or
yeah,
pyramid, something to
The
that
biohazard
effect.
is pretty rad.
Oh, maybe the recycling
band.
ring, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Seeing as
Yeah.
the world's going to stop recycling, that'd be kind of apt.
Nice. And, I'm thinking about putting it on my back shoulder so I never have to get the chance to see it,
If you're gonna get it, you might as well get it in a place you can see it.
Right on your face.
Oh, a neck tattoo?
Right.
Just right along here.
Tyson it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Get it under your beard, and then just grow your beard out, and nobody would ever know. And then you'd shave, be like, yeah, I'm about that life.
Yeah. By the way,
Nice.
I'm going next Tuesday, get the rest of my arm filled in, which is funny because I have a conference call at 2:00. I briefly considered being on that conference call while that's going on in the background. That would be fantastic. Take that, corporate America. Pretend badass.
Sleeves.
So essentially, every time I go to a restaurant and order a coffee, a water, and a beer, the waitresses look at me and like, I needed this guy did a better tip. This fucking asshole. Coming back with a whole tray just for you.
Just order a queer.
I'm not sure what that means.
Coffee, water, beer.
Ooh.
I'll have a queer.
that might turn a few heads.
CWEER.
I'm not following. But
Coffee,
okay.
water, beer, ear, queer.
I'm going to let that go.
That is the strangest of the strange.
So speaking of your cars.
Yeah. Excellent segue back. So yeah,
that Camaro had 305 or 350 in it.
305. Both of them were 305s.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had a scorching 170 horsepower, maybe.
Yippee-ki-yay, feather plucker.
Yeah, I think they were like 205 at the crank. That did not age well, by the way. Well, at least I didn't break those cranks, so there's that. But yeah, that car did a lot of trips. Drove down to Florida, did the beach many a time. But it did eventually die on me, and so I ended up delving into the BMW world. And I found a 2006 BMW convertible M3 with 6-speed cinnamon interior, jet black exterior, and had everything else I wanted on it. And so I settled on it and drove up to Charlottesville, Virginia. So I drove from Charlotte to Charlotte to get it. Here's a fun fact for you. I had, until getting this car, which is a 6-speed, I had driven one stick previously and not well. So
You forced your own hand.
basically, yeah, I rented a car and drove up there with the intent of a one-way drop-off. So no matter what, I was not driving that car back. So I bought the car, and in the intervening, I don't know, probably 6 hours it took me to drive back, I had a wonderful time learning the intricacies of switching gears.
Yeah, Highway 29 through Virginia is all hills, so this must have been quite entertaining.
Run for your life.
Here's another fun fact. You are never more embarrassed about stalling out until you do it in a convertible, because literally everybody can see you, and they can see the fear in your eyes. So that makes it that much better. Because I don't know about if you've taught people to drive sticks, but the worst thing that can happen is they get flustered, because then they don't start doing it right. And so, yeah, that just accentuated it and made it even worse. But
And yet I keep wanting to teach Kaylin.
I-
She's willing, but also not.
I need to teach Karen, so hopefully we can steal her mom's Honda Fit, I think is what
That'd
she has.
That'd be a good
good.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jeep wouldn't be bad, but the clutch is kind of stiff.
Yeah.
'Cause Emily can't push it in. But
Hey.
let's be honest, her legs are small.
That is a wonderfully descriptive word.
Thanks. I didn't want her to hear me. She's downstairs.
I have a question. Is it worse to stall out in the city or on a highway? I have a feeling on a highway it's got
The
like
highway's
hills
less
and shit.
likely, since typically you're at speed, and unless you're in a traffic jam, you're not stopping on the highway. So by default, city.
Yeah,
'Cause
hands down city.
Typically, it takes effort to stall out on the highway. Like maybe if you're on the on-ramp, you stall out then. Well, it's typically that stopped to going is when you're going to stall out. All right, well, car stops. Fuck it. Start again. And then you're on your way. It costs you 10 seconds. Not that big a deal. Just Don't
But
get
any
that
on
upset
ramp
about
inside of Charlotte, if you don't hit it perfectly, you're going to cause a multi-car pileup, which will kill everyone around you.
Good. City's too big anyway.
More air for. By the way, somebody said, "What was the worst thing that anybody? What was the most insulting and painful thing anybody ever said to you?" And somebody's like, "My stepmother once told me that I should carry a plant around with me to replenish the oxygen I waste."
That's good.
I just cracked open a new beer. It's an Irish Bye-Bye Wake and Bake Coffee Oatmeal Imperial Stout Ale with coffee, lactose, and natural flavors from Terrapin. So, I'm going to give this a shot. And anybody
Dude, forget Disney World. Terrapin Brewery in Athens was the happiest place on earth when I went decade ago.
Damn, was it that long ago?
Not quite that long, but it's been a minute. Athens is a fun spot.
Wow. Okay.
I love that mouthfeel.
I hate that word.
Oh, okay. What's a better word, Steven?
Taste.
It's more the texture of a liquid.
Yes, that is a better way of putting it. I will try to avoid
Are you
the word.
thirsty? No, I'm hungry for wet.
Oh, I should have eaten.
That's why I immediately went to Wendy's before coming.
We were going to order pizza, but the eating on mic is kind of a faux pas. So,
Yeah, trust me. If I don't keep taking you off that horse, the listeners will. All 6 of them.
of the mouthfeel horse.
well, the idea.
I'm not above trying British IKEA meatballs.
The idea is,
I can taste the cinnamon.
we want to have guests because we love our friends and we want them to be a part of it. But also, when you're a guest on a podcast, then you say to all of your other friends and coworkers, "Hey, I was on a podcast. Check it out."
I'm
and
a
then they hear
podcaster
it,
now.
and then they hear it, and then that's how things spread like this. So hopefully,
I really don't know about that because I don't really have a lot of friends.
I was about to say,
I'm
I think
joking.
we're pretty much all of them.
Well, yeah, no, but as an engineer, there's not many of us. But the other thing I feel
I'm
like,
pretty sure Jason's going to be quite amused by this.
yeah, I probably agree with that. The other thing I feel is that when you start to a podcast starts to bring in other guests, they start to jump the shark. So it's not a good sign. Not at all.
I don't think so.
I'm fucking with you, trying to make you laugh.
Like,
it
wait, the nature of every podcast ever, blah, blah, blah. And my guest today is blah, blah. Hooray.
Jokes on
Already
them.
pelling day.
Wait, who were we brought to today?
That's true. He got you guys.
Well, look, this is a different. I mean,
The 1999 Baby Raptor.
yes.
What? So my car is in the shop, and my mechanic, Russ's Tire and Auto of Mount Holly Road on the west side of Charlotte, what's up, y'all? Had a 99 Mazda B3000, a Mazda Ranger by a different name, for me to borrow for last week. And that was a raucous, fun little truck, and I have no interest in buying this particular specimen. Should you be? Why, yes, it is for sale.
For the right price of
Not quite $4,000. So
how many miles were on it?
I rolled it over 232.
That's kind of ambitious because it's two-wheel drive. Too.
If it ain't dead by now, it ain't gonna be. But
True.
I did eke out 18.5 miles to the gallon in mixed driving.
Very nice.
Not bad for this engine from the 1960s. And it's lifted and it's got knobby tires on it. It looks a lot tougher than it needs to be, hence its new nickname. But those tires do not ride well at 20 and then north of 60, you're going deaf driving this thing.
So it's because the Jeep's not quiet, but it has no tire noise.
Yeah,
it's all engine noise.
This is both.
And now exhaust.
The tire noise drowns it all out.
That's the one thing I'm upset with my Subaru about is, like, I used to drive a lot for work all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and I couldn't put my podcasts over the radio because I couldn't fucking hear it. And I had to put it inside my ears. I'm like, there's so much wind noise. And I'm like, this makes me sad. They should be able to fix this.
Well, I mean, even for
What,
mine, with the
both of
top
them?
up, it's actually pretty fucking quiet. There's one little spot where, like, it gets in under the top, but
Is it like that weird little wind whoosh?
Not quite like that. I can just hear like if a semi truck goes by, you can kind of hear it going by. Versus some of the newer BMWs now, like you have the windows and the door shut. There's no sound at all. But out of the left hand side of my car, I can hear almost nothing. Out of the right rear corner, I can get a little bit of sound.
I don't see what the big deal is. My convertible has no wind noise at all.
You also have the hardtop.
Yeah, you're also not using convertible as convertible.
Well, that's true, too.
Your
There
argument's
is a
valid.
hardtop option for mine.
And it's as expensive as mine.
Exactly.
I think that
Exactly.
requires you get the hardtop M3.
Well, so much like yours, I can put the top down into the trunk, and you put this hardtop version on top of it. The nice thing, I don't know if it does it for yours, but with the BMW of that time, it had the oh shit handles in it. It had your dome light. It had everything like as if you were a normal coupe. However, it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah, mine does not have that. The dome lights are melded into the windshield frame, but it does have the defroster hookup.
Yeah,
But
so
you
mine
also
does
have the
that too.
interior
Yeah.
space offered by this table, so it doesn't really matter.
True.
It's like, how much more lighting do you want? Get a flashlight.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah, so like it puts the dome light where it would normally be. So you there is a little wiring harness you just snap on into it as you drop the top on, and it feeds all those components.
I know my way around a harness.
Hey, wait, what?
Once a time. So that's your 4, right?
Yes, yeah. So with this car, I got it in 2010, October 2010,
Almost 9 years ago.
with 36,000 miles on it, and it currently has 149,000 on it.
And relatively trouble-free, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I've done.
That's what they call a Wednesday car.
Oh.
It has definitely been my DD. It's been to more job sites and down more gravel roads than most trucks. It's pretty bad. You would never stop appreciating the face of a lineman when you pull up at a substation in a BMW and they're like, "You drove that down here? I wouldn't even take my truck down here."
I don't even drive mine in the rain, and you're taking his to job sites. I don't even have windshield wipers on mine. I took the wipers. There's no wipers on it.
See, that's why I love the Subaru so much, because that's basically an any condition car. It's like, okay, drive the kids
Yeah,
places.
It's not
all right.
it's not all terrain. It's all weather car, which is frankly the
More
best of
important
both
here.
worlds.
Yes.
For the 2 times a year you need 4-wheel drive. Which
Hey,
is,
well, seeing as Charlotte's been flooding the last 2 weeks, you got to do what you got to do.
that's true.
I mean, the ground clearance alone. When like you turn in like really sharp in Charlotte, and then there's like a big like, oh shit, somebody didn't do their job with this entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't worry about that. I just go. And so whenever I rent a car or borrow somebody else's car, I scrape the fuck out of that shit. It's like, why are you taking a left at 60? I'm like, oh, sorry.
You and I don't have to worry about that in our DD. Like,
Right.
because my ground clearance is really good too, but
The
my
vi-
approach angle is really good.
The vibe's not bad for how small that car is.
It really isn't.
And after, I got it back today. After that truck, it feels like a race car.
Oh, of course, of course.
It's like,
Yeah, coming from a guy who rents a lot of vehicles, it is very interesting sometimes.
what's
coming
your
back and
worst rental?
I would say one of the worst was the Chevy Spark I got.
Fuck yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
I'm not the
thing is,
biggest.
the car is this big.
Yeah,
I say
I'm not
holding
the
up my beer
biggest
bottle.
of guys,
God, I hate
but
that
without stretching, I can reach across from the driver's seat and manually lock and unlock the passenger door, and that's not a good thing in a car. And it's got like 12 horsepower. That was pretty terrible. One of my best was I got like a brand new Suburban with 4 miles on it.
Ooh,
That thing had like all the bells and whistles, super fun to drive. It drove like a champ.
Did it have a trailer hitch on it?
No.
So you were not hauling ass in it?
I was going fast, but not hauling ass.
Allegedly.
Did you break it in like you're supposed to do a rental car? Like put it in park, throw a brick on the gas pedal, and then go have dinner for an hour?
The worst. There's 2 cars that I treated the worst. One of them was a Nissan Murano. I was bringing that to a job site in Michigan, and it was a well-maintained dirt road, very curvy. and I just would go into every curve, just crank the wheel, just sliding this Nissan Murano around these curves.
Too bad it wasn't a cabriolet.
No, it was not the convertible version.
You would be the turbo douche.
Oh,
if you
my God.
if you roll to a job site in a cross cabriolet, like you will get beaten up.
No,
Gentlemen,
I would beat myself
$47,000 new.
up. Not.
Thanks, Doug.
Not
Yeah.
worth it.
Tomorrow.
Um,
Even
later.
weirder is the little Land Rover could be
Yep.
had as a convertible as well. Like,
Yep.
oh, good. There's an English one that costs twice as much.
yeah. Then the other one I had that I treated terribly was a Dodge Avenger out in California through the mountains of wine country. And it had about, probably 2,000 miles on
The
it.
only perk was satellite radio in it, right?
Pretty
Because
much.
that's my Avenger rental car story, too.
The fun part, though, was returning it, and the steering wheel was about 15 degrees off center.
That's warm.
Because I just drove it through the mountains hard. It was a lot of...
What year was it?
It was
20
like the
2010
first
or so.
second.
Because
Yeah, first or second one.
when the Avenger first
Turns
came
out
out, it was
such
pretty.
that sedan, the last of them, not a bad looking car, but just didn't hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coupe was certainly cooler, like the Eclipse by a different name.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
no
yeah,
turbo.
yeah.
No turbo, though, unfortunately.
No, but he had that V6 in it, so it was no slouch.
the thing about-
coworker of mine years ago had one.
The thing about Mopar, like Dodge does the trucks and their performance line, they do really well. Their econo boxes, you could not fucking pay me to buy a Dodge Chrysler econo box. They
Bullshit,
do.
I'm getting you an Omni.
With exception. That's mid 80s though.
Get you a GLH.
As we know, everything in the mid 80s is fucking awesome, guys. we could have done
Youngin'.
3-car garage our birth year because I think we all have different birth years.
I'm not strong enough in the cars game to do that. I'm just thinking about right now. 3-car garage.
3, 4, 5,
You're 83
83, yeah.
and I'm 86.
2,
82 and you're
1.
81. We could totally fucking do it.
Next time, we have to have something for them to look forward to. So you do 3-car garage, but it's what about music? Like 5 CD changer? Because we're all old enough to remember that
I
shit.
am absolutely okay with this idea, and I like this idea.
Brought to you today by Mr. Kirkman.
It was a lovely idea when it had the FM modulator powered CD changer. And every once in a while it wouldn't work. But the modulation component just decided it's not going to function in the day, so I listened to a radio like an animal.
It won't make any noise. Except the noise I just said. Say it to the microphone. It's very freelance, man. Just get up and go do it. But so are we doing 5 or 3?
for a moment.
You want to
Okay.
do 5?
I was just thinking 5 CD changer because that's what I had in the house. But
Okay.
we could do any of that shit. So I think
The thing is, I don't-
I think we're the last. I think we're the last people to remember like the entire albums and buy that shit. From ever since now, it's like okay,
It's all
the
singles. Yeah, it's singles.
it's all the freaking
Well,
iPod music.
I think Steve and I talked about this one time on an episode. Like, I miss the days where you'd go get either an album or a CD. You'd open up the art. You'd look at the artwork. You'd read, the stuff going on into it. There was a physical copy of it, and it might be the old fart in me, but I like that nostalgia. Like, I like seeing album covers and artwork and thank yous in the back and who produced it and who mixed it, and I like that. It gives you like a tangible,
Right, you like
source.
a physical touch, like piece
Yes.
of paper, not just a digital copy.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not anti-progress, but I mean, there's something
something about
nostalgic
that value.
Yeah, there's I think so.
Omelets and eggs, man. That said, I was really shocked to discover the artwork behind KMFDM albums after discovering them in the Napster era. So it was just like, all these crazy rock techno songs from Germany. And then the artwork going into all those by an artist called Brute are these, black, white, and single color, like this monochromatic artwork that looks amazing. Mm-hmm. And I was unaware of that for years after, just listening to him. Like, I like the band, and then oh, these pop. Like, it's a very, like, simple art style. So it's, like, all, black and white with a splash of color on it for these, albums from the 90s. And they're awesome.
Yep. So I'm guessing News of the World is a top 10 album cover for you, right? Just because of a Family Guy?
Thanks to Family Guy, yeah, dude.
That's fantastic.
That said, did you see the Bohemian Rhapsody movie? Because, hey,
yes.
other people have done that same thing better and more accurately.
Yep, and I love the movie. I absolutely loved it.
Just imagine if they did
It's
it
on my
right.
list. I haven't watched it yet.
You know what's on my list? Your Kiss. Your Kiss is on my list.
Nice. So
Did it right.
fucking love Queen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can say about that. If you don't like Queen, you can go fuck yourself.
All right.
If you don't like Queen, you can die in a fire. If you don't like Queen, I will dig up your childhood pet and feed them to you.
Not Mr. T.
So,
boomer.
So I think I like in the spirit of Three Car Garage to do a 3-disc changer, but I don't think I can pick just 3 albums.
I know. That was my problem too.
So if
That's
we could,
the joke.
if we could do 5, I think. And since you brought it up, I have a feeling you've thought about it. So you're going first.
Shit.
We could go reverse alphabetical order.
I don't know what.
Oh, it'd be Steve first.
It'll be starting with the letter X. Shit.
Not that kind. Not back,
It's like
not backwards.
So
TNNX. Yeah, I'm out.
So the question is it okay? These are the only albums you'll ever be able to listen to again because I would hurt myself.
It's not the Desert Island.
But no, it's not a desert island. It's just the favorites from like past and history and shit like that. And most influential. Help me understand.
In the spirit of this podcast, every time you drive, you have a
These are ready.
5-disc changer in your car. You can only listen to those 5 albums while you're driving.
Ooh, Gnarls Barkley. Nice.
This podcast is over with.
I mean, that is a good CD.
All right, but watch it first.
No, thank you. No,
I haven't heard enough of it. I just know I hate the song Crazy.
Well, it got way overplayed. That was the problem.
that was the problem. But no, Danger Mouse and frickin' CeeLo, they had some serious chops there. So I'd say Gnarls Barkley, Beatles, because I was raised on that shit and I could listen to it.
Yeah, which of the 48 albums?
A quick answer is going to be Rubber Soul, by the way.
I know, but I like all of them. I like the White Album. I'm gonna have to go White Album.
White Rubber, Lonely,
Sgt. Peppers, Lonely Peppers,
the Red Hot Lonely Peppers.
fucking California Nation. So I would probably also pick probably Avett Brothers. I like a little fucking bluegrass. I'm not exactly sure. Here you go, buddy. I'll give you something to pop the top with.
Yeah, pop that
Dude,
top.
this director set needs to be a pop top.
Oh my fucking god, that's happening. Make it a hood ornament.
Yes.
I would probably go. I really like Billy Joel Glass Houses.
What year was that?
87.
That didn't have We Didn't Start the Fire.
No,
did
that
it?
was Stormfront 89.
That's
That
right.
was
That's right.
89.
What was on 80?
Fucking Layla.
Layla? That was
No, Lena.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna say
My mouth started doing things.
got me on my knees, Layla. Begging, darling, please.
I mean, obviously, any Soundgarden or Audio Slave.
You got to pick though.
Fuck you.
I mean, it's your. Hey man,
Okay,
it's your rules,
okay.
man.
Okay, so I'm bad with memory and lyrics and shit like that. I would probably do Alice in Chains Unplugged, and then what was Burden in My Hand? What album was that?
Down on the Upside.
Down on the Upside.
1996.
I had that on tape. I'm old.
That's not a real thing.
It fucked. Like I listened to it so much, it fucked up this tape sound. Like it was like garbly. Ugh. And I bought that both on tape and on CD, and then downloaded that shit illegally. That's how many times I own that fucking album.
An illegal is just a sick bird.
If you want a tape, I could do it again, courtesy of that last portion.
How many is that? I've been drinking.
A lot.
We're not keeping count.
Yeah, we
It's
don't
not
count.
good. Whatever.
It's not good if you count. Sean just cracked open something. Sean, tell them, everybody what you just cracked open.
This is a fancy new funky Buddha, and it is a "I'm so excited, I'm scared." It has a lovely image of a woman in, I guess, yoga attire, riding atop a unicorn tiger.
I need to see this because I didn't pay that much attention just for research purposes.
It's all right because you're saved by the bell.
It's all right.
And this is an imperial stout with coffee and vanilla.
That is a tiger, right?
Was it brewed with caffeine pills?
God damn, it looks like a mixture of Kathy Griffin and what's her name? Janine Garofalo?
Because they're
All
totally,
right. I'm going to say
because they're
something. and
totally
you're-
going for the Elizabeth Berkley look. Because that's who Jesse Spano was. That's who was so excited and so scared. And that's apt.
Okay.
And the tiger corn is fantastic.
All right.
So I know she may not reciprocate, but I love Janine Garofalo.
Yeah,
that was my teen heartthrob. It was
Mine was
awesome.
Winnie Cooper.
Oh, of course, of course.
But also Alex Mack.
Hell
yes.
yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that
Larissa,
show.
The
Larissa
secret-
Olenek. She still looks exactly the same.
Was it The Secret Life?
Secret World of Alex Mack, yeah. Clarissa Explains It All was actually good, too.
Yes.
Because then she
She
later
went
became Sabrina.
nuts.
Right.
And now she's
crazy.
She's fucking...
A different sort of witch.
And then,
It's wicking a whack.
and I guess the other one for us would be I enjoyed Topanga.
Oh,
Danielle
I
Bishop.
I do like her, but I will say, you guys know the kind of women that I marry. I kind of like mine super tiny.
opposite. I like them thick and juicy. I like a curvature. So Topanga was my style and also my coloration. She was my cinnamon.
Does that mean you can't take her without a sip of water or you'll gag?
He doesn't have a gag reflex.
Oh, that's true. We did find that out one night.
Well, you should listen to the backlog of all the podcasts.
Oh wow,
You'll
this
find
smells
it out.
really fucking good.
Tastes even better.
Yeah, it's
Oh hell, yeah. Everything Funky Buddha does is good.
Oh my god.
Did you pick your
Well,
5?
Hold on. Let's also take a look at the top of the cap that came off of it.
Liquid belly rub?
Yes. I don't know, but I'm
Indoors
interested.
or outdoors? I don't know if you've picked all of your 5 yet. So you had Billy Joel, the Beatles,
Soundgarden
Down on the Upside.
down the upside, and then I probably had. Oh shit, my brain's not working.
It happens.
Let's start now.
Gnarls Barkley.
Gnarls Barkley was 4. Yeah, that was the first one, but that's 4. You had one more.
I'd probably go John Legend. I fucking love John Legend.
A great artist. I haven't listened to enough of it to appreciate. Have you listened to any Gary Clark Jr.?
I don't know who that is yet.
Soulful brother.
I mean, I see. I love.
Blues guitar player, singer, and he's a brother.
So, does he ever play with Government Mule or Tedeschi Trucks or anything?
I want to say he opened for them a couple times, but he does his own thing now too. It's Gary Clark Jr. is his name. Fuck me. Who wants to go next? Not in that, but in the album. I'm thinking it's between the two S's.
I've got 2 so far.
What about you, Mr. Preston? Because I don't know much about your musical tastes. We only usually talk about cars.
Yeah, it's fairly eclectic as well.
Eclectic is the word I use to explain my random ass things that I like. You know,
It's such a good word. I would say maybe Gorillaz.
nice.
I'd go Clint Eastwood, just because I got a lot of memory ties to that.
That was
You know,
01? 01, 02.
The
That was my
01,
first album.
yeah. So it's one of those things where you ride down the road and you hear a song or whatever, or you smell something and just immediately go back to certain. Yeah.
Right,
So
like pussy. Yeah.
We had a conversation about that at work. About I was like, you know what? If you close your eyes, man, every one of them have felt the same. It's just smell and taste are the only. They all feel the fucking same. You can close your eyes. You can take the Pepsi challenge with your dick. You're not gonna fucking know the difference, man.
Which one's fizzier?
Diet 0.
Fucking Pepsi challenge.
Pepsi Max and you.
So sorry to interrupt you like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I apologize.
Sorry to
Bob, for
derail that
listening to
Amtrak again.
I
At least
would-
nobody died
yeah.
this time.
The Gorillas, Clint Eastwood. Maybe like a Eagles.
this. No, everybody has an Eagles year, you know?
I fucking hate the Eagles.
That's fine. That's fine.
No,
You can do your own thing.
Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember that
that's
part.
why I said it. I don't hate the Eagles.
Everybody has a fucking, what is it? The Hell Freezes Over fucking album. You just listen to all that shit, and it's just, okay.
Except I'd rather hear my own firing squad than listen to Hotel California anymore.
Wow.
Amen.
I got Hell Freezes Over for Christmas years ago, and it wasn't till way later I heard the studio version of Hotel California.
Well,
On a dark desert. It's terrible. It's terrible. We can let it go.
Hey, how to punish people when you're doing karaoke? That one, because that's a long song, yo.
no, dude, Inagata Devita.
Also,
It's
yes.
17 minutes long. And you don't have to know the words, because that guy didn't.
I mean, I didn't know. I don't know a lot of the words I do karaoke to. So
Yeah, you don't have to. It.
I'm so terrible at pretty much any lyrics. It's terrible. I don't know any of them. Like I loved Alice in Chains Unplugged album, but I don't know any of the lyrics because the Unplugged album didn't have the lyrics in the pamphlet, so I didn't really
I know front to back.
Do you?
I do.
See, I can sing it, but I can't. I don't know the lyrics. I'm
have
singing
to.
like.
I have to. That's sort of my thing. So I have to know that there are some artists in this area who play music out and they don't bother to learn the songs and they just wing it and it sounds like dog shit. And I'm not going to say what his name is. Yeah. On the off chance he actually listens to this, which he doesn't, he can kiss the fattest part of my ass anyway.
Hey,
so.
but thanks to him for all the free dark beers back in the day when they bring him random beer from bar.
True.
Hey, man, I don't want this. You want this? Yes, I do.
Yep.
Fill in the blank. Thanks, dude.
So, have you done your 5?
No.
Oh, you're looking. You're looking.
Well,
See, that's
I
the thing.
was
I
waiting to
said-
come back around.
Okay, cool.
I mean, yeah, but it's a hard thing to think about. It's like how is your entire musical history like boiled down into 5 albums? That's tough, dude.
But to be fair, he did say just in the car.
Ooh, so yeah, more upbeat kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Well, I don't know because like Emily and I will take there are certain albums, and one of them will be on my list just because it's the ultimate road trip CD. It's and you guys know me. I delve into the heavier stuff too. But I love all stuff. But I love fucking Elton.
That's next week.
I
I'm
love
going to see him.
I will be seeing him later this year.
Awesome.
Thank you, Karin.
Awesome.
Nice. I'm going next week in Columbia.
Nice. And we're going to Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle in August, and that'll be the 5th time I've seen Chevelle. Badass.
I'm going to start my own Chevelle cover band. We'll be Oldsmobile 442.
I'm okay with that.
That's solid.
You borrow my amp.
All right, so what I had the Gorillas. I had some Eagles. I would go with Muse Absolution.
Ooh.
I would go. I'd probably pick a lot of their different albums. I would maybe say. I just lost the other one. Wu-Tang Clan, 16 Chambers.
Nice.
That was I had that one on tape.
Yeah.
It's not a real thing.
Yeah, but actual tape, yes. I actually have some of my tapes at home still.
Nice. We could play them here.
Well, I will remember next time. And maybe because I've listened to it 1,000 times and I still really like it. The Kings of Leon. Which one was it? Only by the Night, which I guess was their first
The breakout.
mainstream one. That was one I've listened to 1,000 times. It's still good to me.
Fun fact. Now you'll have to look it up, but I know the singer guitar player, the main guy, and I believe another guitar player in the band. So they got signed, and they were like, "We're going to put you with a backing band." They were like, "We don't want a backing band. We want our own people." Do you have your own people? No, give us a year. So they got 2 of their friends and taught them how to play bass and drums, and then a year later, they learned all the songs. And they're still playing with them.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And the thing too is like the stuff they're writing is super easy to play, and which is that's no knock because like Nirvana stuff is super easy to play. Kurt Cobain, when he wrote music, he said, "I want it so easy that kids could play it. I want it to be that easy to play." Because I mean, you guys, do you know the band Dream Theater?
I don't.
I might
Steve
recognize
does.
something.
They are the most technically gifted band
Super complicated
on the planet. They all went to Berkeley. They all know music by heart. Like they know the most intricate shit, and most people don't know, and they don't fucking care because there's no money past the 5th fret of a guitar. Anyway, like people like simple shit. They can only musical savant people like appreciate shit like that. Like,
Is that why Rush never
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Fucking love Rush.
Rush is great, but it is definitely prog, and it's fucking not easy to play. If you ever watch them play, that's work. What they do is work. There's a reason it's
They're finally retiring.
exactly. The last time they came, when Toby went to see them in Charlotte, he said they were like, "All right, we weren't planning on taking a break right now, but we're gonna take like a 5-minute break because we're old. We're coming right back." They just take a break.
I want to be that old where I can just do that. Just be like, guys, I'm old. We're taking a break.
That would be great. That would be great.
I know you paid $200 for those tickets, but
I'm doing that at 37. I don't care.
So
Did you get your 5?
I think he did.
I think I'm going to change one of mine.
That's okay. You're allowed to do that.
I'm going to switch out the Beatles for some Dispatch and Bang Bang. I fucking love that album.
I haven't heard it.
I don't know that one.
Okay. I don't.
Doesn't mean it's not good. We just don't know it.
When I was in college, that was the shit that I played a lot. It was fucking awesome.
Steve, how many are you up to?
12.
Well, let's narrow it down slightly, please.
I'm currently asterisking.
Thank you for saying it correctly. There used to be this guy.
Asterisk.
No. There was a guy who used to come into our store who was in corporate, and he would say asterisk. And I'm like, huh?
Do it now.
What's that? You're missing a letter, or maybe 2.
Well, you know what I hate is when people say ATM machine.
That's horrible.
What about PIN number?
PIN number's horrible too.
VIN number.
I also don't like when people say irregardless. No, it's just regardless.
What if you're talking about that Irish cafe in Raleigh? Then you are correct.
I also don't like when people say it was very unique. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was unique. There are no varying degrees of unique. It's either unique or it's not unique. It can't be very unique.
Well,
No.
I mean, it's a nice descriptor because it means it's like
This is
I see you reaching. I see you reaching.
you're special.
I see you reaching. But
This is so unusual. It's really unusual. Okay.
but it's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Oh, Tom Jones.
Rest in peace. He's not dead.
I bet parts of him are.
I would imagine. I mean, at that age. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, all that syphilis.
he's got syphilis.
Probably. Look at him. He's Tom Jones. He slept with a lot of women.
So did Wilt Chamberlain.
That's true.
I know a guy named Tom Jones.
Me too.
And he looks nothing like the singer
Yours
Tom
either.
Jones.
Nope. Well, he goes by Thomas, and he went to school with me and Thomas Blaylock. And I had a dream last night that
so he's
Thomas
not from
Blaylock and
Summerfield.
Thomas Blaylock and I were his lawyers because he got convicted of killing 2 people. I don't have a degree in law. I don't even have a background in law. I didn't even have anything to drink last night.
It's not even watching Law and Order. It's like she's watching all the less good side of that. Who got murdered in the Navy today? Dunno.
The village people.
Ha!
Oh, I have my second filling of that already. I'm ready for the monstro.
I might could more have.
It's on YouTube to distribute.
I can go if you're still whittling down.
I think I'm
He's
ready.
down to 50.
Okay, cool. He whittled down from 12 to 50.
Yeah.
Give or take a factor of 10. Thank you.
Please pause for
That
station
beer is
identification.
exciting. That beer is scary.
You know what? I feel like the breweries from this area should sponsor the podcast and just give you beers. Why is that not a thing?
Well, we can do one
Like
on
an
location.
inquiry?
They do a podcast on location.
I'm pretty sure I can get you in at the Nomad whenever you want.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Nomad would be like the easiest one to get into because
I
they're
wonder-
not.
Super busy, and it's pretty much quiet if you go at the right
Yeah.
time of day.
I wonder if
Yeah.
I wonder if we could get in at Three Spirits while they still exist. They're currently for sale.
yeah.
What?
Do you have
Yeah.
$650,000? Nope. Super.
Well, we used to play there all the time, and then
Yeah.
they cut their music back because nobody.
Like,
The
Maybe
beers
I-
are great
I
though.
don't see
Their
their
location,
beers
yeah.
anywhere.
No, they are just a brewery. Like they don't.
Dude, Heist is under the same thing too, but at least they're surrounded by stuff. Three Spirits is an island.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, good.
It's
You live in the
also in-
industrial
in-
wasteland next to like South Boulevard and Costco.
That was a
Cool.
Hooters song, right? Oh, that was Teenage Wasteland.
Actually, that was
And then made me think of Teenage Dirtbag.
Baba O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Auto parts. No.
Wait, that's where Mac works now. Oh,
Yes,
speaking,
it
of,
is.
speaking of which.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Mac.
Yeah.
Youngin.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
29.
Yeah.
Jeez Louises.
I met him
I'm
when he
old.
was 17.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he was drinking with us.
Nice.
I mean, what?
Hey, the statute of limitations
ex post
is way
facto, dude,
gone
you're
now,
fine.
man.
Oh, that was so long.
All right.
So
shall I go or should you
Go.
go?
No, you go.
All
You go. I'm
right.
still thinking too.
All right. Well,
excited.
so quick picks out of about 15 I had scribbled down here on the tablet. I landed on these 5. Queens of Stone Age, rated R from 2000, because
Good
feel
choice.
good hit of the summer, hit of the summer.
Feel good hunt of the summer.
I've got I think that's the one song to eke out over Songs for the Deaf.
Yes.
That's
Songs for the Deaf was 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Lullabies is 05. Like, there's not a wrong answer in those, but I feel this is going to be the 34th percent if you split them 3 ways from 100 points to go on.
Fair enough.
The Damned, Machine Gun Etiquette. Because I just can't be happy today is the most awesomely depressing song ever. And frankly, my brain's not been in a good space since I heard it, but man, it hit something. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
Fuck yes.
Mr. Brownstone is my go-to karaoke tune.
You
Because I
are.
sing it like Scott Weiland.
Oh yeah, you're a much bigger GNR fan than I am.
Yeah, I was like, for us,
Really? Like, not at all?
No, don't do it for me.
dude, Smoking Tires live now. Who the hell's Rob Benderpark?
But,
We could do live chat, like throw some money to say shit on it. Did that once, and they talked about UPS trucks in between, like him saying my bit and then getting back to me. It was fantastic.
tell him we're talking about them on our podcast. See if they get back to you.
What's up, Matt Farah?
We got like so many more listeners,
dude.
now.
I want that thing from the guy that's not Rick Beato. Thanks,
Oh yeah, I love Rick Beato.
dude. Another guy doing the same thing was on today's episode. Yeah, still Thursday, Wednesday. When are we?
Yes,
Yeah, he just
that-
dropped another episode with him, and it was amazing.
cool. I want to hear the
Anywho.
rest of these, but I also want another beer.
Nirvana Unplugged, because those are some fantastic Bowie covers.
Big time.
And the Bloodhound Gang, One Fierce Beer Coaster.
Now, what was the one I missed as I was making room for more beer?
The Damned.
Can I not just be happy today? I can't just be happy today. I just can't be happy today.
and I'm definitely
And also
listening
Smash
to,
It Up, covered by The Offspring on a Batman soundtrack.
Nice.
Nah, I'm going to listen to some Queens of the Stone Age on the way home.
Hell
The,
yeah.
the only
Good
one,
choice.
the only album I have by Queens of the Stone Age is Songs for the Deaf. So
It's a good one.
I know I just need to expand my palette because I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen to Caius I'm not a big Caius fan.
The instrumentals are fantastic. John Garcia's vocals are like watching paint get peeled.
It's much like Dream Theater, like listening to the singer of Dream Theater sing. He doesn't have a bad voice, it just doesn't fit the music at all. But Periphery is kind of like that.
That band? Okay, I haven't heard of them. But
Periphery? It's another prog. It's a prog metal band.
I like them. I know
You say-
immediately
you'll
I like
like
them.
I don't understand. When you say prog metal,
Progressive metal instead of progressive rock. So Rush is progressive rock band, a prog rock band.
Sophisticated rock, and then you step it up a bit, so it's heavy but sophisticated.
Yeah, it's a prog metal. Prog metal.
so what's the difference in prog metal, heavy metal, and death metal?
Well, death metal has. I can't wait to see that wave file.
My eardrums are now dead.
I caused that, and I apologize.
So this is
in
what
advance.
happens when Steve tries death metal. Look at this waveform; it's amazing.
Death
it
metal
looks like a
has
narwhal.
Death metal has the Cookie Monster vocals, and it's more about like. So it's got that. You have death in the lyrics and stuff. That it's really heavy down-tuned guitars.
If ever you don't need to sleep, look up Cannibal Corpse lyrics.
Oh no!
Did we
Best
talk- wait,
best
did-
thing ever.
We
talk
did
about
not
this
talk
here?
about the.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna pull up.
2000s.
I'm gonna pull up something hilarious, and then you talk about this.
That was an oddly cute movie
So we are drinking a Monstro Russian Imperial Stout.
from Noda Brewing.
Neptune said to the sea, there should be a terrible monstro, born from its darkest depths. It should be stout with the strength of a whale. This is that beer, of toasted barley mass, rounded out by the vanillas, molasses, and oak of bourbon barrel aging. Enjoy the deep. 11.2% from Noda Brewing Company.
No wonder charging $10 a can for this.
Well, they are, but that is a 2016 vintage.
It's
that
a
I busted
vintage
out
beer.
just for you guys.
snap.
Love
It's
you
old
guys.
enough to go to preschool. So this is
good.
this is death metal, and this is the most brutal shit I've ever heard, and there's no way this is gonna get pulled. This is None So Vile by Cryptopsy. This is the most brutal shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. This is death metal.
Do that rather well,
Sounds pleasant.
I think.
And
By the way,
I was wrong.
it gets way better. There's going to be actual words, and it doesn't sound like anything at all. It's the most funny. Toby spit his beer out listening to this, all over the carpet in our apartment.
Sometimes you get heavy.
This is the worst thing ever.
That's Cryptopsy. That is the most brutal shit I've ever heard, and it's hilarious. And oh my god, I have the Roku hooked up. I ought to pull that up, and it'll play downstairs. So everybody's, what's this?
What happened
What
to?
the fuck are you doing?
I was watching
If it gets
SVU.
signal, it automatically transfers.
And then she'll
That's
pull the
funny.
breaker on us, and we're screwed.
Well, I keep saving it periodically in case we lose. I guess it's. I guess
I got a
coming up
UPS not seeing the use. Want that too? An uninterrupted power supply, a battery for your computer.
It's not a bad thing.
It helps with brownouts.
Oh, and other things.
I did that at work the
Racist.
other day because I thought I could.
Same.
If we're doing,
I don't see what UPS has to do with any of this.
all right, so five albums. Like, so I'll tell you the album that Emily and I always, without fail, every time we go on the cabin trip or vacation, or like we went on a long trip together, we'd listen to Days of the New Yellow every single time. You remember Touch, Peel, and Stand? Since you know low to go, I won't let that album.
Gotcha.
It's an acoustic album. It's all acoustic.
Fantastic Alice in Chains knockoff.
Kind of. But they were all 16 years old when they recorded that album.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Who are they? Kenny Wayne Shepherd?
Maybe. Or Silverchair. They were 14 when they recorded Frog Stomp.
What?
Silverchair?
How to get kicked out of a
I
pet
know.
store?
I didn't know there were 14. That
were
makes
14.
me feel very old and unaccomplished.
They were 14 when they recorded Frog Stomp. They were 15 when it came out. That's
What are they,
nuts.
handsome?
Except with talent.
With a lot of talent.
No,
but
I know someone.
definitely Days of the New.
There are no tinted windows.
Wonder What's Next from Chevelle would be on mine. Let's see. Dirt, Alice in Chains.
Yeah. Fucking love Alice in Chains.
Super Unknown from Soundgarden. That's 4. And number 5. I had 4. I had my 4, and then number 5 is just
Burt Bacharach.
Perfect.
I like Burt Chess better. Baccarat's it. Never mind.
I like Bert and Ernie better.
Bert, I wish you wouldn't drink so much, Bert. Well, Ernie, I wish you wouldn't eat cookies in the damn bed. Bert, you're shouting again, Bert. Jesus Christ. There's so many good choices.
Right.
Narrowing it down to 5 is very, 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 very difficult.
Which is why you love making this podcast.
I know, but I didn't expect this question either.
You weren't ready. I'm sorry. I set you up for failure.
Hey,
The band
you know
was
what I said at my
fastball.
second
The song
rodeo?
was the way.
This ain't my first rodeo.
Well, look at it like this: you set him up for either failure or greatness. It was up to him.
Freightness. Grailure? Grailure.
Monty Python and
The Holy Grailure.
Holy Grail.
Which, did you know there were a couple of versions of the Holy Grail as far as the beer goes?
Mudvayne LD50. That's my 5th.
Dude,
heard
about 10
of it.
years ago, I was hanging out with these German students from Friends Business School and befriended one of them that was a metalhead, and we saw Mudvayne. He complained that show was not heavy enough.
Yep.
It's like
I
them and
remember-
Non-Point.
I remember in my freshman year, there was a guy who loved Guar and would follow them and go to some of their concerts.
There's a guy at work who has a Guar sticker on the back of his fucking Toyota Tundra truck, and it's beaten all to hell. And I'm like,
sticker
I
or
don't
the
know.
truck?
I haven't seen him. I have no idea who it is. He works shift, so he comes in before I do and leaves after I do. So I don't know who he is, but I think he's a guy from the lab.
Well,
I do.
this guy would stand out. He had a mohawk this tall.
Nice.
You should do this to go through doors.
You should get a Kenny G sticker and stick it right above that.
Oh, I think murder is the. You would kill me. Like no.
Not if he's like
Cameras.
super tiny.
Dude, cameras. There's tons of cameras and chemical plants.
Yeah, but does he care?
You can't.
How's
be,
your throw game?
You can't be a Guar, you can't be a Guar fan without a sense of humor.
That's absolutely true because Guar stands for. It's an acronym. You didn't know that? It's God, what awful racket. It is. It's an acronym.
Thank you
Sorry,
for
I'm
teaching
going
me
back-
something new today.
That's
Sorry, I'm going back on
formidable.
eBay to look up my Kenny G sticker. Thank you.
Kenny
So-
G Shepherd.
So, I mean, I thought BMW stood for bring money with you. What else?
Bavarian Motor.
Bought my wife.
Yeah.
Bavarian Motorworks?
That's what it stands for.
Bayerische Motorenwerke.
Now,
Yeah.
did you,
You didn't know you were going to get like
Like school?
Get
No,
schooled,
not at
fucker.
all.
and cop. The word cop stands for corporal on patrol.
Huh.
everything in our life is an acronym. You just don't know it.
Oh, see, I worked in environmental where there's acronyms within acronyms. It's not good.
Yeah, no. It's
God,
very
that sounds like an English lesson.
acronymity.
Functionable but leany.
Acrimony or alimony?
And he brought it full circle.
Full square.
What are you, a flat earther?
No, man, I have
didn't
the
know?
map of Africa behind you.
And it's flat.
It's also from 1965.
It is
Didn't
from
know any
1965.
better. Yeah, look, there are
Really
countries on this
fucking
map
old.
that don't exist anymore.
There's probably a lot on that map that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, this exists before Biafra, which brings me to my next point: the Dead Kenny G's, where they cover
The dead cat.
Dead Kennedy songs with the flute.
Boy.
Oh, fuck. What?
Yeah, I
Coming
cannot
to America.
find
What was
a
that
Kenny
country
G
called?
sticker.
Coming to America? I don't remember the name of the country.
Was it? It wasn't Djibouti. That's a real place.
Yeah, Djibouti. And the
Djibouti,
capital
yes.
of Djibouti is
Djibouti.
Djibouti.
Yeah. No. What was, oh God, now I feel bad.
And the capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. and Somalia is Mogadishu,
Yes.
and the capital of Niger is Please.
You know, I actually met somebody from Madagascar.
Oh, God.
People actually come from Madagascar. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and they're not animated.
Also, that is where like 80 or 90% of the world's supply of vanilla comes from.
Yep. And that map's so old, Egypt's not even on there. It's the United Arab Republic.
Holy shit.
Well,
Y'all know the story- y'all
Egypt's
know-
in parentheses.
Have
though,
you guys-
so they knew it was coming.
Have you guys listened to the story behind why the fuck I have a map from Africa from the 1960s in here?
I need to hold
I
on
am
1
aware of
second
it.
and ask, what is Volta? What the hell is that?
Mars.
Half of Mars. Also.
Steve, up top.
Nice.
Brian, do you know the story why I have this map of Africa?
I'm going to let you tell it instead of getting all racist. Keep going.
It's racial, man. Who do you think's the better dancer out of us or the people that live there?
I've seen some videos. I would think it would be them.
Yep, pretty much. I like the Bill Burr skit. He's like, why do you think they're all better athletes? He's like, their ancestors were running away from slavery. They weren't running to the end of the driveway and saying, well, I made it. They're running states. They're running across states.
I figured it was like lions and like things that would kill you.
Bill, have you listened to much of Bill Burr?
No.
Oh my God, he's so fucking funny.
is
like,
pretty good.
He's like, I'm sick of Obama's wife. He goes, and that's not a political thing either. But you're the first lady. Like, do first lady shit. Put your own flair on the White House. Like, dude, but don't. No, you don't get to make policy. And then he goes, look how quiet it is here. He's like, is this considered sexist? And some woman in the audience goes, yeah. He goes, all right. Well, you said it's sexist. All right. Well, say this. Say you need a plumber in your house. And you call the plumber over, and the plumber goes, you know what, I think the leak is coming from upstairs here. And then the plumber's wife comes in, who's not a plumber, and says, well, you know, actually, I think the plumber that's coming from, he's like, you know what, with all due respect, shut the fuck up. I need a plumber.
Now,
Somebody
favorite-
doesn't like school lunch is better for kids. Fuck you, Bill Burr.
Or the bring our, she had the sign, bring our kids back from, I'm a stand-up comedian. What the fuck am I going to do bringing kids back? I'm going to go overseas with a sharpened mic stick. Michelle said to bring the kids back.
My
I
favorite
love
one
it.
is he's talking about when his girlfriend adopts a pit bull, and his tirade on that is pretty good.
Oh,
You should watch a couple of his
Great. It's
stand-ups.
such
They're good.
it's angry bald white guy.
I'm really against adopting pit bulls, guys.
Because you don't like the horrible music.
Bingo.
Cool.
Mr. Worldwide.
Dude, that shit makes me envy the deaf. Oh, what's up, Nick?
I don't think he's going to listen.
He can watch.
Damn it.
You and what camera?
He can watch the waveforms. Mine is clearly louder than everybody else's, but
Which is not inconsistent with everything else we know about you.
No surprise.
I'm kind of used to being loud in front of a microphone, if I'm honest.
Truth.
Yeah.
You made some decent coin out of it too.
It's paid for everything you see in this room.
I cannot be
Wait,
bought.
you bought me a Sean and a Brian with your music buddy?
Actually,
Thank you.
it was buy one, get one free sale.
Just because we're both big and have beards does
By the
not
way-
be the same thing.
By the way, the tirade earlier from Bill Burr, he goes, this is not a political thing. I'm sick of all first ladies.
Wait till you see the next one.
Yeah, oh, boy. I have the map from...
Oh, what's up, 1995?
I have this map because my brother, who was born in 1965, happened to be in elementary school, and they were having these little bets at school. You know, I bet you can't do this and not get caught. I bet you can't do this and not get caught. Somebody said, Greg, I bet you can't steal that map and get away with it and not get caught. He did it. He said all he had to do, like the teacher left the room, school was over with. He goes up, rolls the map up, carries it out underneath his arm like he's supposed. Like he didn't look suspicious. He just looked like he was carrying a map. Nobody stopped him. Got on the bus with the map. Got off the bus with the map. and he won that bet. And now I still have it. And he goes, "You still have that map?" I need to get him on the podcast. He can't have it back though. It's the eminent domain now. It's fucking mine.
If you ever want to look like you belong, put on an orange vest and a hard hat, and you can get into anything.
Clipboard.
Yep.
Actually, I've got a lot of experience with this. If you hold a very large, over-the-shoulder pipe wrench, you can go wherever the fuck you want. Just look like you're on a mission and walk. No one will ever stop you.
I did see a tweet one time. It's like, you can get anywhere you want to if you just have a towel wrapped around you and just go, sorry.
Are we ready to try this?
Well, fuck it. Open it up, man. Let's do it. I'm equal opportunity.
You brought a Mickey's?
It's close.
Or is it a red stripe?
It's a Budweiser aged in Jim Beam.
Hooray!
Hey, now it tastes more like Budweiser.
That
go find
Monstro is
out.
monstrous. That's really good.
So Noda.
I don't know how big these are, but
You need to go get you some of that coffee I made you.
Don't worry.
Yep.
As soon as we get done, I'm going to go there and chug a cup.
Oh, okay, good.
I want to be a part of this.
Gotcha. By the way, do you see how this is incredibly fun to do every 2 weeks? Like, I absolutely look forward to Pull Down School Map of Africa. $99? No, it's not worth.
Buy it now. $60 starting bid, and you've got 2 days, 19 hours.
No, I have the original. Oh boy, I feel so deliciously white trash right now.
I mean, it's Budweiser and whiskey.
What we have
Bud whiskey.
is beer owned by the Belgians, brewed in barrels owned by the Chinese.
Oh,
What was that about being Mr. Worldwide?
ooh, very nice.
He needs his Bartles and James back.
What was the slogan for Bartles and James? It was
Loud nothing knock you down.
no. It was the two old guys, and they always had a slogan. They always had a slogan at the end of their commercial. Okay, Google. What was the Bartles and James slogan?
Hey guys, this isn't that half bad.
According to Wikipedia,
oh.
Bartles did all the talking and ended each commercial with the tagline, "And thank you for your support."
And thank you for your support. That was what it was.
You're right. That Jim Beam Budweiser is not bad.
Really?
It's 6.2%.
It's
You'd
the
think it'd be a
kinder,
little bit
gentler
more,
Boilermaker.
Okay, it's not bad. It's pretty good for
What it is.
backwoods voting red beer and whiskey.
Chinese Belgian beer.
Yep.
Chelgian?
It's international.
Binese sounds dirty.
Binese sounds like some sort of computer code.
Binary easy.
My beers are brought to you by Frugal McDougal.
Is that where you got it?
Ooh.
Nice. I've never been to a Frugal.
You haven't been to the Frugal or a Frugal? These Frugals are Frugal McDougal is pretty awesome. It's a great place to get some whiskey and bourbon that's a little bit abnormal. They definitely have a better selection or sometimes a more plentiful selection than what you can find at ABC store. And cheaper.
That's what Andy. He came over for my birthday. He said Frugal has a lot of good choices for cheaper. But he owns a racehorse in Lexington, Kentucky.
Is that why he goes back so often?
Yes. And I'm going to give him some money.
Yeah.
And he's going to bring back a lot of stuff that he cannot get usually.
Correct.
Or that we can't usually get. So
Right.
he's going to bring a couple bottles. So, Steve, I think I'm going to have Andy on the podcast to bring some really rare whiskeys, and I hope you're off that night. So take that night off.
I will be begging on the doorstep for some samples.
Okay.
Perfect.
MacDougal. Yeah, didn't know how to spell that one.
So is Kentucky Bourbon Stout? Is that from Kentucky? Can you get it there, or is it just founders and doing magic?
Well, I mean, it's like the bourbon stouts and things like that are just aged in bourbon barrels.
So you don't have to actually get them there. They just ship the barrels wherever. And then
Correct.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of people that use the bourbon barrels to age things in, like your Scotch. Mm-hmm. So it adds a different.
Fucking love Scotch.
Well, maybe
Cheap
next time I
Scotch.
can bring some Scotch with me. I have some pretty good ones.
I don't like the good ones. The good ones are too peaty and they're too complicated.
So,
and they're very
but that's
He didn't have a
expensive.
head.
I didn't
Cheap.
specify that they would be the expensive ones.
Oh, good.
I said some good ones.
Because usually when people say good with Scotch, it's like, this is $90 a bottle. And I'm like, no, I want the stuff that's $30 a bottle and puts hair on your chest.
Well, the one I would
shave
recommend to you
Already there.
would be Glenmorangie.
I think everybody but AJ is fully hairy. I don't know how you grew a beard. Did it take you months? Because
I'm actually a pretty hairy dude.
He started this when he was born.
I just
Oh.
like from here to my kneecaps. I'm a baby Huey. Like I
That's-
shave all of it.
shave it. I mean,
Check balls, asshole, like every fucking legs.
So is it Dollar
Except for the
Shave
taint.
Club
Same
or
razor.
No, it's
do you use the pink Gillette?
That's why he doesn't do the face.
no. I use the Mach 3 Turbo.
It's flat red.
Mach 3 Turbo. I have a technique.
How many pounds of boost in that?
I have a technique on how to shave my nuts without cutting balls, and I'm really good at it.
That makes one of us.
But so after looking it up, you can you don't cause irritation in genital areas by shaving with hair conditioner. Use conditioner instead, and you don't have bumps or irritation or anything. It's a much smoother
You
shave.
mean conditioner with razor, or the conditioner's acting as nair?
Yeah, I was going to say,
A-
rub
a
some nair on
conditioner
there.
as
Then it's
cream,
going
as
to
shaving
smell
cream.
like burning.
Also,
Yeah.
it's going to
no burn, no nothing. It's very nice.
Do not use in sensitive areas.
This
And as Little
really-
John would say, sweat literally will drip down my balls.
Wait, that wasn't Little John. That was
That was Little John.
was it?
I
I thought that was like a Yin Yang Twins.
mean, dude, if you like squint your eyes, it's the same fucking people. Black dude with dreads, man. I mean,
It might. It
I don't know
might
about
be.
that.
It might have been Little John. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It kind of blends together because it was around the same time frame.
I have a very funny story about that. If you
Which one?
about
the
sweat
song.
dropping down your balls.
Yes.
Sweet.
So my I used to go to church a lot, and
Sorry.
I had a phone back when like there were only like 3 or 4 ringtones you could have, but with the newer phones you could start downloading things. And so I started to try it, and I was like, let's see what this sounds like. And I set myself up for failure because I downloaded a song. And so when I was at church, someone called me because I was on call. And while I was up taking communion, in the back, my phone was ringing in the pew, and it went, "From the windows to the wall, to the sweat drops down these balls." And I was like, "Oh God, this is." I ran for my phone. I'm like, "How did I do this? How did I fail so
You shouldn't
badly?"
have even ran for it. Then nobody would ever know it was you. By the way, they're trying to make the communion wafers and rename them and call them Jeez-Its.
Are they gluten free?
No,
but never lactose free.
no, gluten is a sin. Oh, that's glutton. Sorry.
Yes, that's one of the 7s.
It was Little John and the East Side Boys, by the way.
Fuck yes. Do I know my ball sweat or what?
Well, so I
Don't know,
do
don't
not
golf.
ever have a ringtone go on my phone because I just don't want it to be like loud and obnoxious when I don't want it to be. So I just say, screw it. I'm not going to do it at all. And the only ringtone I can ever recall having was a snippet from Tribe Called Quest, Electronic Relaxation,
I love Tribe Called Quest.
which was the only one I've ever used or had. Also a good CD for the CD player.
Yes.
Tribe Called Quest.
Number 6.
Yeah. Good thing mine's a 6 CD changer.
With the old Q-tip.
Can't help you on that one. I've got a 256 gig flash drive attached to my car stereo.
Well, so my car could have come with a CD changer, but whoever ordered it
Weight
did not
savings,
put one in.
bro.
So what I did
Pre-wired.
what I did with mine was I got a little box that I put in there, and I hooked it up to where the CD changer is supposed to be hooked up. And what that allowed me to do was put a little Bluetooth dongle and attach to it so I can stream music from my phone to the car. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there are 2 different Bluetooth types. There's the original early day one, and then there's a Type 2. The original early day one that allowed you to use your phones was nothing but actual data streamed. what allows you to stream music is it sends packets back and forth. So anything pre-2006 or in BMW pre-2007 was the original style. And since my car is a 2006, I didn't have that option. I have Bluetooth. I can't stream it. So I have to have a secondary
Buddy's
device
accurate
to
the
do
same
that.
way. So he's got an auxiliary port with a $5
I don't have one of
add-on.
those either. I have to pull my
The
dash
headphone
out
jack,
to do that.
Yeah, that's a menace.
If you've seen my dash, it's even worse than that.
Do you need to borrow that Dremel still?
I do actually still need to do that.
All right, so I'll remind me before you leave, and I'll let you borrow the Dremel.
What was your favorite Christmas song? Little Dremel Boy?
I don't know, but all this Type 2 is making me think diabetes.
Well, we're not drinking anything that sweet.
You haven't tried the turtles on pterodactyls.
It's
that
not that
Steven
sweet,
just
but it
bought.
is really fucking good. It's sweet nominally. It's not sweet flavor mouthfeel.
I'm still drinking my whiskey, bud.
There's a flipping off going on right now. Because of the
I
use
think
of
I'm
the
about going to
bird
get
outfit.
my actual bourbon whiskey, so I'm going to go get that. I'll be right back. You guys
Is that
talk
where you-
amongst yourselves.
Is that where you come from?
I'm a little verklempt.
Eggplant, neither egg nor plant. Discuss.
Man. Yeah.
So while AJ's gone, let's talk about the worst defect or thing that you didn't have fixed in your vehicle. Mine was interior lights, and I'm not just talking about the ones on the moon on the dome light. I'm talking about all interior lights that light
Including
up the
the
dash.
Nice.
That was the Celebrity. I'm sorry, not the Celebrity. The Nova. So it was a daytime car, not because it couldn't drive, but because in order to figure out how fast you were going, you needed to look outside at the little white line and figure out how fast you were going.
Well, there's a shortcut to that. You can just get pulled over and he'll tell you.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
outsource it. Well, this car probably was not fast enough to get pulled, so problem solved. Drive slow car. Don't worry about it. Don't meet new friends.
The other thing that was freaking terrible was I had a leak in the 86 Chevrolet Celebrity, and it filled up like the lower half of the car, and I was in college, so I didn't drive my car from Monday till Thursday, and so it was fucking rank. And so I had to take the entire floorboard out and all that padding and just drill a hole, and so it would just leak through. It was freaking terrible. So I ghetto rigged that shit. It was fucking horrible.
We call it Afro engineering.
So I have one terrible water. Well, actually, I guess I have two water stories with my car. One, my Camaro, my second Camaro. I went to visit my brother at work at Tony Roma's, which I don't even know if they exist anymore.
He retired from Dallas Cowboys.
No, not that's Romo.
So I don't know if he became a better announcer than he did football player.
Oh, he's
I'm
great,
going
though.
to give a callback to the previous episode. You guys were talking shit about Schlotzky's
Yeah.
and talking shit about how I live far away.
Well, that's true.
There's a fucking Schlotzky's in Gastonia.
Oh, my
So
God.
it's still
I
half
can't
an
wait.
hour away.
It's still a half an hour away.
Oh, Gastonia, where we were playing a gig and we saw a chick open a beer bottle with her eye socket.
I thought that was Kannapolis. I thought that was Kannapolis.
I don't doubt it.
Kannapolis is Gastonia North.
Charlotte has Gastonia.
Charlotte
Concord
specific
has Kannapolis.
Cultural references. So
Local references get you
so
local
neat.
work.
That's true.
But yeah, so my first one was visiting my brother at work. It was a beautiful night, had the T-tops off. I go in, and I'm hanging out, having a couple beers, and he's talking on the phone to somebody. He's a bartender, and he's talking on the phone to somebody, and he says, "It's what?" And he looks at me, he was like, "Sean, he said it's raining outside." And I was like, "No, it's not." I go look outside. My car was parked in front of the door. I couldn't see the car. I'd been in there like an hour, and it was a perfectly clear night. So that was a wonderfully wet ride home. When I threw the T-tops on there, and I had to drive it home. I got home completely soaked. Thankfully, the next day, perfectly clear day, nice sunny day. So I had the doors open, the T-tops off, out there with the towel, soaking everything up, and it dried everything down.
I have a good story about that too. So my Maxima had the removable So I could, or not the removable. The Civic had the removable. The Maxima, the sunroof went back in. But Thomas and I went hiking, and we drove up there one day, and it was pretty outside. I left the sunroof open, and then we went hiking. Halfway in our hike, it starts just fucking monsooning outside. And I'm like, Thomas, I think I left the sunroof back. He goes, I think you did. I was like, well, I'm going to go back. He's like, well, I'm going to finish the loop. So I'm going to finish the loop, and I'll meet you back there. I ran 4 miles back to my car. When I ran back to the car, the sunroof was open. I was parked under a tree. Nothing got wet. I ran 4 miles for nothing.
That's not true. It's for your health.
I ran 4 miles for nothing.
He took a year off his life for this. He's only going to see 102 now.
Here's what's funny. Either my microphone is more sensitive, or I'm just that much louder because my gain on the preamp is lower than everybody else's, and my voice is louder than everybody else's. I think I'm just louder than everybody else.
This is how I talk.
Straight up gangsta, bitch.
Well,
See,
I mean,
Bryan
have you seen
started
my
to.
movies?
Brian's the
This is the sound
third
of my
one.
voice.
Brian's the third one. He started to figure out how to talk. You notice how the waveform was non-existent, and now he got louder and louder. So he's figured out how to talk into the microphone.
I think it's the alcohol.
Sean's been the most consistent out of all of us. Actually, mine is all over the place. Sean's been consistent volume the entire time.
I did something right.
He's a fucking pro, man. He's a pro's pro.
I have been wired for sound before.
Pardon?
Ooh.
I can't talk about those
I
movies.
thought
though.
that's why you got that Bluetooth module.
Oh. Is that what you get when you eat out too many Smurfs? Bluetooth?
The Dread Pirate Bluetooth. Hey, folks, my other Instagram page with a bunch of fancy cars on it. And not so fancy.
So for me, it's more of a. I'm an engineer. I get very quiet, and all of a sudden, I get a little drinky poo in me, and then I just get a little bit louder.
I can make you do the Kirkman.
The huge laugh that gets it.
It's the Kirkman.
Drink
I'll say that. It's like,
Cover it up. Yep.
cover it up.
Yep. It's a guffaw is the word I think we're looking for.
Yes. I also
about
am
right.
Yes,
an
go fuck
engineer,
yourself.
just a different type of engineer. You're a computer?
Chemical.
And you
Me
are
drink or me
mechanical.
mechanical.
Read.
Read? All right.
Our powers combined, we can't do much.
Before I explain awesome things on cars, I need to read the Turtles and Pterodactyls bottle.
And I'm an audio engineer, so.
One day, friendly dino turtles were caught in a volcanic eruption. A dangerous time to be slow and steady, winning no races. Fortunately, the vigilant pterodactyl rescue squad noticed just in time. The dactyls swooped down with a thunderous caw and hitched the turtles to their rescue vests. Hot lava covered the earth, but the turtle dudes were safe and sound. Want to be a pterodactyl? Harness their brave and gentle spirits by sharing the spear with a dinosaur-loving friend. Cowabunga!
Yo.
What you talking about, Russ?
Well, I mean, that is part of it. AJ is pouring himself some Russell's Reserve 10-year.
Somebody's got to not do anything after this.
I got to work at 6 a.m.
It's one of those things
Sooner.
where it's like Buffalo Trace, where Buffalo Trace Distillery makes all sorts of really tasty and delectable things. Wild Turkey also offers a lot of different stuff.
Yep,
Russell's is one of those.
Yep, it's
Give me-
bottled by Wild Turkey.
I need a tame chicken.
It's actually real. I don't hate Wild Turkey. I don't buy Wild Turkey. If somebody has Wild Turkey, I will drink it. But
Well, so you know how the
I was born
you had that-
Thanksgiving. I better love wild turkey, but I'll get back to you on that.
Wild Turducken.
you
Go
know
on.
how you had
love
that
turducken.
wild the Frank Sinatra Select.
No, yeah, I've had that one. Yeah.
So Wild Turkey has some similar style, like one-off blends. They've got one that's called the Decades, where they blend a 20 and a 10-year, and it is fucking good.
That sounds good.
And they have like a 17-year, and they've got like some other ones, but it's worth looking into. You pay a little bit more for it, but it's one of those that you drink it, and it's just like Yeah, that was a good one.
I was really impressed with the Russells just for price's sake, because this was medium price. So this one was $36, whereas the Elijah Craig was about $34. I like the Elijah Craig better. This one is excellent. I mean, it's just a really good sipping bourbon. It's really good. There's not much burn, and I was really surprised because Wild Turkey burns.
Well, the 6-year one, I have to put either a splash of water or I have to put an ice cube on it. It's stout.
Have you
Actually,
had this?
You had that one when we were at the cabin.
That's right, I did. I did. Yeah, and I think
last
Steve
year.
had it too.
Last year.
Yeah,
Not this year. Last year.
So what are the rules when it comes to ice or water in bourbon? Like after it's aged for some period of time, that burn goes away?
It's not really that. So some of it, what it does is it helps release some of the flavors and things in there, and it just also kind of goes down to what your flavor profile you like is. If you like more of a burn, then you're not going to want to add any kind of water or anything to it, and you're not going to want to
I'm not a
dilute
huge
it half
burn
and
fan.
half. Well, so it not like peaty burn, but like just that heat, if you will.
That you said you didn't really care for. Now, I didn't bring any ice up here with me, but
That's definitely smoother than the 6 for sure.
yeah, the 10 year. The 10 years is definitely smooth.
That I wouldn't add anything to that. I'd sip that like it is.
That's a good sipper.
Yeah.
I think anything at 10 years or over that it's over $35. I mean, you're going to get a pretty good one. Now, I didn't like the Jefferson Reserve. I didn't like it.
There are certain different types. So
Go
I
up
mean,
my nose.
you could find one you do like, because you might not like all Russells, but this one is good.
I'm not crazy about the way it tastes.
That one's a tasty one.
So, Kirkman, what do you think?
I really enjoy it, actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of the classic burn of like terrible moonshine that I've drunk in
Yeah,
the past.
so Kirkman said, now, this is going to be, I don't want to put you on the spot, but
here we
the
go.
last time we were together, he said he didn't like bourbon, and I almost pulled my dick out and mushroom headed him. I was like, what? Hold on a second. No.
So, okay. So, what sounds like needs to happen is that I need to go and visit my buddy Jason in Wilmington and go to the Bourbon Barbecue and Music Festival.
Wait, aren't we having that here soon too?
They're having it here, and nobody would book me.
Oh.
So they go fuck themselves. I'm going to have my own celebration here, because I could do all that shit here.
might as well
I was
just
say,
go,
with our powers combined,
go-
our bourbons would be
go
fantastic.
drink, have fun. Like that's
So
So I tried, I went to the ABC store and I got a lot of those little airplane bottles. And I tried the Elijah Craig, the Leroy Jenkins, and then the fucking Jim Beam. And so what you ended up telling me was the one that was like really not the Jim Beam. It was okay, but the one that was like the highest branch, the Knob Creek, was a rye, and I'm like, I don't understand. So I think what I need to do is try something within the style. I see there that you're looking at the Turtles on Pterodactyls.
It's tasty.
It is tasty. Do you want to know more about it? Birdsong, please listen and donate bottles.
and please book me again.
For real. So it is a...
I want more peanuts, but on their
Fuck.
dime.
I got those
fucking
downstairs.
love peanuts. It's a Mexicali stout that has been blended
like it.
with cinnamon and cocoa nibs in a bourbon barrel aged. I don't believe that I enjoy it aged for 3 years like this one is. This one's a 2017 vintage.
Well,
So-
I mean, so I don't know. I haven't tasted some of the other ones, but this one I can definitely taste the cinnamon to it. It's got a good flavor.
Right.
I like it.
A lot of times, like the founders, like the sexual chocolate, they'll go through a Randall and they'll actually have like spicy type flavors. They'll have like a fucking jalapeno and some cocoa nibs and sometimes basil, which is interesting but also delicious. And it's really good. I huge fan of the Foothills and out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and they should donate bottles. And but yeah, my favorite thing though out of that area It's got to be Red Oak. Me and Steve grew up in G-Town in Greensboro.
So that is one of my probably top 5 beers would be Red Oak. It's one of those beers I can just drink all day.
Have you been to the beer
I
garden yet?
still have not been to the brewery because they only ever had that weird Friday. I know they don't anymore.
It's better
Not
now.
anymore, no.
Yeah,
But they only
I've
ever
not
had that
been.
weird Friday afternoon. So on or some sort of weekend, I am down to go.
I'm putting my hand out, and we're going to guarantee that we are going to go to the Red Oak Brewery. There it is, the handshake of happiness. And we're going to go. It happened. We're going to get fucking Black Oak or Big Oak or Red Oak, the whole the Bach, everything.
Dude, they even make a Pilsner and it doesn't suck.
So for a little
Right.
while, Flight downtown, which they for some reason got rid of half of their taps and put in some liquor. That's fine. But like it used to be a significant number of taps. They had both Red Oak and Big Oak on tap like all year long.
all year long?
All year long.
But
Dude,
that's
Big
not
Oaks
possible
didn't
because they
even
only
tougher
release it at certain
draw.
times of
But
the year.
I think they so rarely went through the keg that it might have been there for a little bit.
That's not good.
Yeah,
So-
like
but-
those are
but
famously
it was good. But it was
not
very
shelf-lived.
So Red Oak is inherently. I'm going to say it wrong, and Steven's going to correct me as soon as I say
is
it.
that the shelf-life?
Reinheitsgebot. And it's like
That's
not-
good enough.
It is not pasteurized, so if you have to keep it cold, otherwise it's going to go funky. Even then, you do have a time limit.
Yeah. Well, so what I think
It's
it might
better
be,
to
they
shelf life
might
a
get
milk.
they might have gotten like a handful of kegs at a time, and then they would only tap them every so often.
Yeah. So I'm.
How much
all
are
I
a
know
keg?
is anytime I
Give
went,
it to me.
it was pretty tasty.
So I'm going to say that the Turtles on Pterodactyls was. I thought that the aging was going to enhance. It actually hasn't.
It tastes the
I
same.
wasn't crazy
It tastes
about
exactly
Well,
the same.
I think once it's
Or
past a certain
that
point,
good.
it
Russell's
stops.
tastes like NyQuil. I'm sorry.
You don't like the Russells?
It tastes like a mix of red and green NyQuil.
All right. I like the Russells.
More for you.
So there's only 3 of us here now.
I know exactly what you mean when you say
Well,
the
it's been
mixture
nice
of the
knowing
red
you.
and green NyQuil.
Sean, enjoy your duties as new host.
I also have a beard.
So yeah, this should be called the Four Beards.
Pretty
There
much.
are a
When we
lot
get
of beers in
together,
this
when
room.
we get together, it should just be called the Four Beards.
Do you
I
title
shaved
these?
most
Because
of mine
that's the episode.
That I will on since we're not on YouTube anymore. I like the YouTube thing, but it's too much trouble to put a video up that's not a video. So now that we're just on Libsyn,
ain't worth it.
so it's we're on Libsyn, it's all audio. And
Well,
I
mean,
always
you
name.
You could do it like a stream, and play
I,
the stream.
I would not be I wouldn't be opposed to a stream.
because I think
Take
once
questions
you
from
stream
people. Hey, we're doing YouTube Live. Hey, what's up? You can spend $20 and say shit to us. What's up?
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, once you stream
Single
it, I
hopper
think
90.
it's continuously like reviewable after that. So it's not
Gotcha.
like you have to have 40,000 people watching right then and there.
Understood. Still trying to grow this. I wouldn't mind doing this for a living because this is a lot of fucking fun. Like picking topics that we kind of delve into, and then like the time we were going to talk about STP, and then we ended up talking about not STP.
Actual Shirley Temple.
Or the time we were
Yes.
talking about BMWs that we barely touched on them.
That's true too.
Well, when you talked about STP, would you actually talk about STDs the entire time? I wasn't exactly sure how this worked.
It depends on which ones. The ones that are easily get
that
rid
one
of.
time I was on Valtrex was for something completely different.
I don't know how to respond.
That's
the correct way to respond. I'm going to finish this, Russ. So if you wanted to taste the difference in bourbons and ryes and scotches and stuff, you would have to do like a back to back like and try one, then rinse out with water. Try the next. You would have to do that to get the different flavor profiles.
It was for shingles. I hadn't been nailing anybody.
So bourbons are a little sweeter finishing, and then the scotches are going to be more peaty. I don't know if I can accurately describe a rye whiskey. Maybe Sean can better than I could.
I'm trying to think. I think it's got the flavor profile is very different.
Yeah.
I think it might have more of a burn, but still be sweet. I'm trying to remember.
I feel like a rye is like an IPA of whiskey.
I think it might be more of one of those things that you have to get accustomed to, like IPAs. Like nobody just goes start drinking IPAs and be like, "Oh, this is fucking great."
Yeah.
It takes a while. Like I used to dislike them wholeheartedly.
Me too.
But
Whoa.
And
me three.
Whoa. Everybody in this room started out disliking IPAs
with a passion.
And now what's the okay? Sound off one. I love them, but I hate certain breeds or hybrids
I can
of the
understand.
IPAs.
Yeah.
Certain hop varietals. Steve, are you a fan of all IPAs or just certain ones?
For the most part, IPAs have certainly grown on me, so it's not like the olden days, like, this is this bitter crap. Like, if it's an IPA, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. And with I think it was more so like the doubles that really turned the tide on them.
Right.
Because then it's stronger and sweeter.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
to get the hang of
Like he likes his women.
the Dogfish 90.
Love you, Kaylin. Yeah, I love all the.
Yeah,
so
me
I
too.
love all of them, but some of the piney, tarry, vegetal.
I'm not big
kind
on
of
the super piney ones.
Dude, if I see a pine tree, I try to drink it. What are y'all talking about?
Well, like the I think the longleaf IPA from A&B is kind of piney, but it's
That-
not overbearing. It's really
that is
good.
a really good example of plain Jane IPA done really well.
It's 7% ABV too, and it's really good.
Now, can I say
knock you down, that's not gonna hurt, guys.
I can't tell you what type of the first IPA had, but I can tell you when the first IPA I ever had was.
Oh.
Do you remember way back when Saucer used to do Biggie beers?
Yes, Thursdays.
So, yeah. My first IPA was
as
a
well as
fucking
the
Biggie beer.
free buffet back then too.
So I took a sip of it and was like, holy shit, this is like drinking a pine tree. Then was like, well, I'm not going to waste it. So I proceeded to chug the whole thing and got my next beer. That was my first introduction to IPAs, and also I got pretty drunk that night.
So with IPAs, I have a feeling that there's some components in there that overwhelm your palate, and then once you get used to them, I think there's like a spin up period where
It's like acid. It just burns away your taste buds. That's all.
So
Right.
what happens with like Steve and I still hate sours.
sours are going
That's
to be
because you have no
very
taste.
different flavor profile. They're going to hit different parts of your mouth.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
all
gonna change
sour.
you. But they're sour in different ways. There's the Brettanomyces, and there's like the fucking Goes lactobacillus.
Yeah, so some are sour and they're really shitty, and then some are sour and they're even shittier.
Shit.
Is that what it is? That's what I'm
That's
hearing.
what you just heard.
Sa-
but as a home brewer, I'm going to call bullshit because it's different levels of terrible.
No, absolutely.
I mean-
There's
yes,
just
yes,
like
they
with
are.
IPAs,
That's apt.
there is a very wide flavor range on
I always
sours
figure
and
sours
gozas.
sours are the country music of beer. It's always gonna be something different, and I'm still not gonna like it.
See, that's how a lot of people feel about IPAs.
I understand.
and
Poltroons.
you know, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. I love the grapefruit IPAs, like the freaking fancy mango kind of citra hop flavors. And
Tangerine over there if you want it.
say what?
There's a tangerine over there if you want it.
I got a double indemnity over here. It's on
Mangerine.
ice that I'm about to crack open. But that's the thing. Is like I don't really like the Cascade hop like heavy dosed because those are so easily produced in the Washington area that you can get like whole cone hops and shit for very cheap. But the harder ones to make in the United States are going to be like the more German varieties, but those are kind of be a little bit different in flavor. But I still like the Willamette and the fucking Citra kind of hops flavors strongly.
You're saying more. You're going to be able to pick out the hops better than I am. Like I know when something is hoppy, and then like I can taste like Simcoe hops and stuff like that. But I don't know the hop profiles like I should.
Right, and it's very difficult. And so what you like the Calypso hop is a very unique flavor.
No,
and
it's not. It's a unique flavor.
Oh, damn it!
Now full circle.
Now we come full circle. But
We can come full circle
Oh,
later
gross.
if you want.
Oh, I'm gonna let that go and just keep on riding.
Dude, I don't fucking care if I die tonight. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rock, man.
So, but
If you're not ready to die, you're not ready.
you're not ready to meet Jesus. Is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back?
I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
Now, I think with the IPAs, going back to what you're saying about like the mango and stuff, like I like the citradelic. I like the citrusy IPAs. I like the hazy IPAs.
That's good.
The New England style IPAs are rad.
The Sam Adams New England IPA is so.
I
fucking
don't
good.
think I've had that one yet.
My favorite is the Sam Adams Juicy Rebel IPA.
I don't think
It
I've
is
had that one either.
Yep.
redonkulous.
Yep.
Every time they
That sounds
make
like a
it,
thick Southern chick.
I'm
the
into
Juicy
that.
Rebel?
I'm into that as well.
Grits, girls raised in the South. I hate that. I hate that phrase so much.
I don't know, man. I'm going to shut up.
All right, enjoy my
You don't
damn
have to.
Yankee.
Is she going to listen to this?
Maybe.
I was like, Emily, are you going to listen to any of our podcasts? She said, no. You talk about this shit all the time. I don't want to hear you talk about it again on purpose.
Still love you, honey!
What is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder?
There's plenty of distance right here, too. If you want.
Yeah, he's got an innie.
No, you like BMW. Oh, Audi. Never mind.
Oh, there it went.
Ingolstadt.
If it's an Audi, it didn't
Munich,
go anywhere.
Whichever.
Oh, boy. I'm finishing up
Shots
with liquor
fired.
tonight because I didn't sleep very well last night because last night was the first unassisted sleep I've had in weeks.
What do you mean by unassisted? Please
He
He
explain.
didn't watch porn.
I didn't have any booze
Oh.
at all yesterday.
no drugs,
No,
porn,
that didn't
booze.
happen.
Yeah,
That happened. That happened.
You are mixing the audio.
All right, so check this out. All right, so
Exclamation point.
I click on a link, and
I call it commit suicide girls.
So check this out. Yes,
fucking love Suicide Girls.
I do. I do too. That's why I married a conservatively dressed Asian woman. So I almost got two people to spit booze out.
Goodbye.
How waterproof
About
is
to
my
ruin your mind.
All right, so I click
buffers
on a link, and it what I thought was two young ladies,
And one
what
cup.
I thought was two young ladies.
Damn it.
And they start making out, and blah blah blah. And one gets naked, and one's clearly a lady. The other one gets naked, and out pops a cock. And and I went, oh well, let's see where this goes. And the reason I thought that was because, well, it's like, well, usually it's a lovely woman and it's a really big hairy dude. This is a little better, actually. This one.
Next on the CWD pod.
Oh my goodness.
God.
But I was like, you know what? This is better. This is better.
Yeah.
High five. This is. I was like, no, it's better. It's better in principle. And I stand and sit by that. I'll lay by,
By the
it
way,
if I have to.
that's your new title
sometimes
now
repeatedly.
for this episode.
The CWD pod.
So I saw a comedian, and he made me cry. I can't even remember his name. He was incredibly funny, but he was at the Laugh Academy, the Laugh
Yep.
wherever that was in Greensboro, and he was like, look. Every time I'm watching a fantasy, it's like a one dick fantasy. It's mine. So this follows that like mantra that you just said is like, but there's extra boobies involved.
Yep.
So I feel like that's consistent with that mantra. So whoever that comedian was who made that joke, very much appreciated. Good job, guys.
I'm trying to find the picture so at least I can show you.
I'm
so.
really good. You can keep going.
I need you to see this. Just so
Oh, hey, look at that map. What is that, from 1960?
Is that your booty?
you're about to see some booty.
You're going to see a lot more than a booty.
I mean, hold on a second. It's always weird to know what to search for.
So I want to go
Perfect.
back to something you said on one of your previous podcasts about 90s cars looking better than anything.
Yeah.
I will grant you the FDRX7. Supra, all right. It's definitely better than the earlier version. I will only slightly
that
grant
first
you that
gen Supra.
because of the E46 M3 technically started in 1999.
That's 90s.
Otherwise, the E36 M3 is terrible in comparison. Now
Yeah.
there are some nice color or color combinations and wheels that make
And
the
pale
E36
yellow,
look
ain't
good.
it?
Well, yeah, that's the Dakar yellow. That's no. But yeah, so the E46 is in my opinion the best body style M3. The E92, which is the V8 version, sounds hands down the best. Although I would say the best sounding BMW by far is the the E39 M5, which was a 4.9 liter V8, and that thing sounded ridiculous.
3.9?
No, 4.9 liter
4.9
in a BMW, and it sounded phenomenally good. So there's a wagon. There's a wagon.
I want that in wagon M3 form.
Well, so there's a wagon in Raleigh.
I mean,
it's an E39 wagon.
One's a
that
man.
has it's the estate or the saloon, whatever you want to call it.
Wagon
with the 400 plus horsepower.
I'm going to get in red, and it's going to say Radio Flyer.
I mean, go ahead, have that. Actually, another one for you would be the RS6 wagon. That is probably also one of the phenomenally.
Is the RS6? Is that the rotary engine?
No, that's an Audi. So the Audi RS6, the Audis have the A line, which is their everyday standard car. Then the S line, which is the S4, S6.
Is that Sanford Sport? Unofficially?
Yeah. And then the RS would be like maybe Rally Sport or something. And that one is the balls to the walls version.
I think that stands in German for really schnell.
But which one has the rotary lobe engine?
Well, so the rotaries all pretty much are associated with Mazda.
And they suck, Mark.
So I will say they're fun to drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until you have to rebuild everything.
Yeah.
So like with the Mazdas, like the RX-7, RX-8, that's what you would find in those.
And the RX-8 was horrible.
Yeah, correct.
Absolutely horrible.
Yes. I think even my friends that own the RX-8s would agree with that.
Yes.
But the they were fun cars. My friend Jason Ginger.
Yeah.
So he has an FD RX-7.
I know that fucking bastard.
We've ridden around it, and that is a phenomenally fun car.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the 2-step turbo, and it's fucking.
You know what would make it better?
An LS swap.
Yep.
So there's a black RX-7 I see around town with the license plate RX 5.7, which I thought was incredibly clever because 5.7
350 y'all.
In it. Yeah. So that's definitely a car I would love to LS swap.
I told Mark that Mark hates LS swapped FDs, but the new Mazda logo, the flying. I thought it'd be cool to have that, and then the left side be the Mazda, and the right side be the Corvette flag. I want to do that.
That would make a better car. Yes,
I would absolutely make a better car.
2 years ago, Doug and I went
translating
to
for Bryan over here,
Louisville.
y'all.
Nice.
We went to Bowling Green for what they call LS Fest.
Yes.
And so I don't know if you are aware of what that is, but it's literally any car that comes there has to have an LS motor.
Right.
So when we were there were Camaros, there were RX-7s, there were Miatas, there were GTOs, there was a
Silverados.
Rolls Royce.
I've seen the Rolls Royce swaps.
There were a shit ton of Mustangs that had been LS swapped, which that made me giggle.
Can I get an acronym check? LS swap.
Okay, so the LS motors are a type of Chevy motor.
Small block V8.
Right. They had LTs and LSs. So there are certain types, LS1, LS2, LS3, LS7, and depending on when it was produced, they had significantly nicer power and horsepower and torque curves. They produced significantly amount more power. They changed them to aluminum blocks versus iron blocks. I think that's part of the LS versus LT.
Mm-hmm. Any General Motors car, any Pontiac or Chevrolet that had a V8 in it.
Well, from about 2003 about 2000 on would be LS motors. The early the fourth gen Camaros had LTs.
Okay, the LS1 was in the 97 Vet.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and that was
after
5.7.
98 is when they started putting them in the Camaros.
Okay.
Now the early GTOs, like as in like
the
early
6-liter.
2000s, were the LS2s, and then the later versions of the LS3s.
Yeah.
But basically, they were extremely easy to modify to get a lot of power, and they're very reliable.
And they're small.
They are small.
Fit in everything.
Right.
It's
And
a push
so-
rod engine.
Versus a Hemi is massive, and you can't fit it in the stuff. Like
Yeah.
you have a generous proportioned engine that fits in a Miata.
So, all right, I'll give you an example. The engine in my S2000 is a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder, and the people who do LS swaps do a 6-liter V8, 4 more cylinders. It only weighs 75 more pounds
Yeah,
than my
it's-
S2000's engine.
The power to weight ratio those engines produce are pretty ridiculous, and it's cheap parts to modify. And you do a cam, and you can get about 100 more horsepower out of it. It's ridiculous.
They are barn door engineering at its finest. It's a great motor. It's just it's simple. It's easy. It's not technologically advanced. It just works.
Yeah. So it's one of the most common engine swapped engines.
Nice. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna back off of that because I'm not a modify the engine kind of guy. I'm like, I'm gonna run that fucking shit until it dies.
Look,
kinda guy.
I'm
run it
both.
faster?
I'm also that, and I'm a run an engine till it dies sort of guy. I'm both. Talking about engines is like giving me a half stat. Like it looks like 6 more weeks of winter. over
Have
here.
you seen
6
where the
p.m. to
LS
midnight.
swapped my car?
Yes.
Oh my god, that thing's beastly.
By the way, if somebody's like, "Hey, AJ, here's $1 million," I'd be like, "Cool," and then I would take my Jeep Cherokee XJ 2-wheel drive and have it Hellcated.
I would also recommend lowering it a few inches.
No, I'm lifting it. I'm having a lifted Hellcat XJ.
Well,
Bye-bye, world.
Let me be the first to say it's nice knowing you.
You can be my substitute. It'll be you and Steve now. I'm handing it off.
I have questions.
All right.
I've always wanted to know, and maybe if I'm surrounded by enough car people, they will maybe be able to tell me.
We are attracted to you.
That I know, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So with the Subaru, you end up with a car that has a huge amount of like clearance, and then you also have all-wheel drive, which is something that eats your fuel economy.
Yep.
Why haven't they made something that lowers itself at like highway speed for fuel economy purposes?
It wouldn't matter.
The
Well,
suspension
it partially does.
is
Not-
expensive.
Ooh, I got everybody
You'd be
talking at once.
surprised.
It's great.
Well,
But the problem is,
That's rotating mass.
you could look at the, if I remember right, the Cayenne Turbo. You could go ahead and you could just adjust the ride height, and so when you got to highway speed and stuff, you could lower it down and just cruise along.
Range Rover, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So it does to a degree lower it, but it also depends on what the undercarriage looks like. So if you've got a lot of gaps and craters and stuff in there, it ain't going to run that much better. But if it's kind of smooth, like on the bottom of my car, there's a lot of covers and things under there it can't get much lower. But if I got it lower, it might make a difference.
Wait, what year? Yours is 2010?
No, 2006.
Yours is 06.
Yeah.
Because mine's an 04, and mine has no
Well,
under.
but remember, mine's BMW. They like to put covers on everything.
They do put covers on
Yes.
everything. But I was gonna counterpoint what Sean said was aerodynamics does play into it, but it doesn't matter how it does matter, but not as much as you would think. What matters is that you have all 4 wheels turning, which is rotating mass, and no matter a 2-wheel drive, anything front or rear is going to get better gas mileage than its all-wheel drive counterpart that you can't turn off.
Right. If all things equal, if you have the same engine and everything.
Same engine, same car.
Now, all-wheel drive will probably get slightly better than 4-wheel drive because it does change how much power is going from each wheel.
Right. Modern all-wheel
Correct.
drive,
Yes.
not primitive
Right.
like all-wheel drive.
Which is why if you ever
Step out,
ever
change the hubs.
have a flat in an all-wheel drive car, you better either only be driving at a very short difference with a donut, or you better have a
Full-size spare.
Yes. Otherwise, you're about to fuck your car up.
In case you were wondering, all-wheel drive is full-time four-wheel drive. You can't shift out of all-wheel drive.
So what you're telling me is, if you have a Subaru,
You can go fuck yourself.
if you drive the fucking donut to the shop and that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it fucks your car up.
Yes.
Yeah, because like on a rear or front wheel drive car, you
Making
don't
notes.
put a donut on the drive wheel. Ever.
No.
Ever. Unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So even on my Starion, so it was a staggered setup. So the back wheels were 9 inches wide and the fronts were 7. But if you had a blowout on the rear, you put your front wheel on one of your back wheels and put the spare on the front and drove to the nearest one. Because it would fuck up. Putting a spare wheel on your drive wheel will fuck up your differential. Especially in an older vehicle.
Everyone's nodding at me like I should know the answer to this question, and
You should.
Don't get a
let's
flat
go.
outer.
Can we do more bars and guitars than cars?
All right. Well,
if you get a flat, get it towed.
all right, let's do guitars, Brian. So I really want to get into a baritone guitar because it's a scale of B to B. So I was thinking about doing that so I could go down to drop A sharp for my heavier scale because a thicker string will give a better, heavier tone and the strings won't be as floppy. What do you think?
I like music.
I have a thick string.
But how'd you make it? It's looking at me now.
Fucking love Audio Slave, by the way.
I could really get geeky with guitars. By the way, Brian Baker is my buddy who's an audio nerd and guitar savant has expressed interest in coming on here too. So he'd get really geeky with it, but you would appreciate geeky. So I'm going to do that too. It's fun having guests in here. Steve and I enjoy each other's company, but it's also fun to have a fresh perspective on things.
And new beards to look at.
And new beers to look at. And I'm going to kill this bottle of whiskey tonight. and I'll
Beers
get
or
one.
beards?
Yes.
Yes.
Sean's got the biggest beard of all of us now.
I trimmed mine this week. I had to look good for the wedding. Not mine.
I think
The wine's not going to mix itself.
I don't know who has. I guess I'm second.
I have a Jewish fro beard, which doesn't get to count compared
See,
to
you have a mustache. He does not.
That's true. And Steve has a mustache.
But
because
his
I have
is
a beard without a mustache. I inherently know how to
You're Amish.
Yes, I inherently know how to fold pretzels.
Churned down for what?
I like pencils.
I do too. We need to do a beer. Oh, by the way, you're invited if you want to come, so you can try new stuff.
I think you're saying it looks good, and thank you.
Yes.
Not bad yourself.
We're thinking about doing a monthly whiskey, bourbon, scotch meeting here, and just trying new stuff.
How about quarterly?
You do what you can, man.
What about bi-monthly?
I was going to go that way, but I knew that would pique your interest.
Yeah, well, I've just talked about what.
Every 2 weeks or every 2 months.
It's ambiguous is the word.
The ambiguously gay duo. Attaboy, Ace. I missed that.
Was it Ace and Gary?
Ace
I
and
never
Gary.
once saw them play
The car-
baseball with that.
The car.
Yeah.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Yes, I've seen Adult Swim.
No, it wasn't Adult Swim.
It was
No.
SNL.
Was it SNL?
Robert Smigel, because he was also with the SNL.
Come
ads.
back here with my bone. I miss Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy is what I miss.
Yeah.
If you ever fall off a really high building, just go really limp, and so you'll look like a dummy, and then maybe somebody will catch you because, hey, free dummy.
I think that's a proper send off for my car is crash test. Like, for what it's worth, all right. They had shitty stuff with cars.
Yeah.
We never finished this because my car currently has a recall to a recall.
What?
Ricola.
You beat me to it.
That Takata airbag recall.
Yeah.
that
I need to do
affected
that too.
Everything.
I actually have to get.
Well,
I think
I've
both
now
mine.
I've now got word saying that folks that had the recall done had a recall to that recall.
I got the same
So-
notification.
Was this is this recall Inception?
Yes.
Yes.
Little pieces of plastic.
I
will
hope
shoot
it's
through your
I hope
face
it makes
holes.
for a better
it may
movie.
scar your face forever.
Because I wanted to like
And I
it.
still
I
haven't
didn't
done
like
it.
that movie.
Veins, arteries.
Little veiny. What?
Yeah. Meanwhile, my fiance will not ride in my
my
car.
nickname.
Never mind. Yes, she's got the better car ostensibly, but the boringer car
I don't know what's going on here, but I'm looking at the
waveform.
waveform, and it's disappeared.
Oh fuck!
I think it's one form now.
No, I think it goes to 2 hours and then it just resets.
Well, we're fucked.
Well, we're 24 minutes into the second hour, so
Looks like you're in a
It
Third
did that-
hour.
It did that to us before. I'm pretty sure it did that to us before. It didn't delete it.
Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's hot as balls in here.
Yeah, I'm sweating like a one-armed Asian hooker working straight commission.
You would do that in a freezer, though.
I do. I'm
I'm also a sweaty motherfucker.
I am. I'm.
That's why I started unbuttoning.
I just thought you were
did
trying
just
to
roll
like,
his
make
sleeves
a pass
back,
at me.
so
I didn't know
I'm not going to
exactly.
say it, but I said it already.
Look at that. That's an impressive ring.
That's an impressive sweat ring, considering you haven't moved.
That was the one time you ran up and down the stairs.
That's true.
I figured it was anxiety, but I just was going to let it go.
Manxiety.
It's my rugged good looks.
I'm happier when I drink, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
What was it Archer said? You know, the
Yeah.
cumulative effect
The
of...
cumulative hangover would kill you if
Yes.
you just quit drinking.
That is still one of the best shows ever. Also,
That's in the running for 15th plate quote.
one of Steve's best costumes ever.
Yes.
That was fantastic. Did you ever see his
My Dr. Krieger.
Krieger?
Well, yeah, Dr. Krieger was
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, welcome.
It's
to
funny, like, that was
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Cars.
Take two.
Bars,
Bars,
guitars,
guitars,
and chicks
pop
with dicks
culture
podcast.
The CWD.
I will continue watching that, and I don't give a fuck.
So that Town Light restaurant that we like are reopening in Monroe in April. Oh, hey, by the way.
So we should go.
Yes.
Random side
It's a
note
place
on
that
that.
y'all didn't want to go. We
'cause
wanted to
you
Sun
guys were
Joint.
talking
Like,
about
that was
that last
good.
time.
But
You were talking about radio
Town's
stations.
better.
Yeah.
93.3, The Planet.
The planet, yeah.
Still plays reasonable rock.
I know,
versus
and
the-
it comes and goes with the signal, though.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. What's funny is you can get it better in Boone than you can in Charlotte.
Well, you're on top of the mountain, so
Doesn't matter. You can be on the other side of the mountain and you'll
That's
still
why I-
get better than Charlotte.
That's-
even though it's in Fort Mill?
No, this
No,
is
that's-
Shelby.
What's that?
Shelby.
Shelby?
Or
No. 93.3 The Planet's in Spartanburg.
Greenville. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, getting it way out. on
I'm
the
very
other side.
close to that shit.
Yeah, he is. He's on the moon.
All right.
He can see Neil Armstrong's like boot prints where he is.
He's near Texas.
No,
Kinda.
I'm near Blacksburg, South Carolina. If you
Which
don't know
they're-
where Blacksburg is, you basically go 85
What's
south.
Gap?
I was going to say
outside
Virginia.
of-
Blacksburg
Yeah.
Blacksburg is where the people that live
I don't
there
wanna get
hate
shot by an
the-
Asian,
the
sorry.
people who are the namesake of the fucking place.
So in
Orangeburg, not apt.
Not
so in Blacksburg, you go down 85 like you're heading outside of South Carolina, and or outside of Charlotte, heading towards South Carolina. You hit the adult bookstore.
Yep.
And you take a left. And that
bedtime
is-
stories.
Bedtime stories, and that's where I work. I'm not going to say
He works at bedtime stories. He's the engineer for bedtime
He's
stories.
the
You know
audio.
what? I think
audio
What you
no,
need-
the
I'm the audio.
lubricant engineer.
What you need is that specific
That's real
Madonna
slick.
album.
What makes me feel weird?
Madonna
I feel
Bedtime
like I have to
Stories.
say
I
this
love
has
that
nothing
album.
to do
Littered
with the company
that-
I work at. It has everything to do with me, and I take all responsibility for all the words I say.
That's a great fucking album, by the way.
but
Bedtime
yeah,
stories
but-
is a great fucking album.
To eBay that,
Used
you
to
can get a
be
bunch of
my
copies for 90 cents a
playground.
pop. Litter it in the break room. They're gonna know. This is my best
Back
works
to
idea
bedtime.
today, y'all.
Back to bedtime stories.
So back to bedtime stories. There's a huge
I don't want to know.
billboard, but underneath the billboard there's an outbuilding, and it makes me nervous every time I pass it, and I pass it every day because what the fuck is so nasty that you can't keep it inside an adult bookstore, that you have to keep it out under the billboard?
Guys, I give you the South Carolina glory hole.
I don't want to know who's sucking my dick today. Shit. Should have been a Steel Panther in my top 5.
The funniest thing. There's a strip club near Clemson University called Tiger Tails, and we had
the
a
Tiger Town Tavern.
we had a meet when I had the Starion group, and I had my Starion. We were down there, and they were like, "Yeah, we got in super late, and we were hungry, and we stopped at Tiger Tails, and we ate and watched strippers." And I was like, "How was it?" And he goes, "I got chicken tenders. I wouldn't recommend it." I was like, "That's it?" He goes, "Wouldn't recommend it."
It was salty.
I think that's what they call the C Squad.
The C-section squad.
Also, yes.
That's tassels.
First off,
I've never been to Tassels.
I do know somebody that's been a couple of times.
Does his name rhyme with Mon Greston?
No, but the first part of that actually is accurate.
Oh, cool.
No, so Tassels on 74, he has gotten a few women there that either are on their great-grandchildren or say move their tummy to show them their C-section scar and said, "Did you believe I had kids?"
I do now.
Yes.
Oh.
God, I'm 6 p.m. to midnight.
I'm gonna say that noon to 6.
I've got whiskey dick right now.
That's their A squad.
I have whiskey dick hard right now, but soft.
That's the joke.
I don't know.
So best strip club story I can absolutely tell you. Besides the one that in Macon, Georgia, the Neon Cowboy. It's called the Neon Cowboy, and by day it's a gas station, and by
night
evening
it's
it's
a
a
gay
strip club.
strip
What?
That's a regular strip club.
Bill's on 85, exits 86, y'all.
So my buddy Josh Hagler and I were at the one off Harris that was right near the tattoo shows.
Harris. In Charlotte?
Fuck, what's it called? It's off Harris Boulevard. It's near where Rock and Roll Emporium used to be.
Oh, near Independence.
Yeah, off Independence.
I don't know.
I don't know any strip clubs because I'm a good boy.
Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night. I'm gonna look it up. So we went one night, and I was like 20 or so,
Maybe 31.
No, I haven't been since my bachelor party, which broke up 2 relationships.
They get
Good
better.
job. Oh my God! So bachelor, I'm gonna give you time.
That's
to
fine,
research
that's fine.
This. So, I went to a strip club on a bachelor party, and somehow we miscounted how many heads we had, and we lost somebody. And without speaking names specifically, we lost a guy in downtown Atlanta for 7 hours, and he came home and he had to have the police help him, and it was bad, and he was incredibly drunk, and he went to the wrong hotel because there's a lot of Hilton or Marriott home places to go, and he couldn't find us, and people went to search for him, and we lost him, and I felt very badly. And then I made fun of him when he came back, and he felt very badly about such things, and I feel very bad about how things ended. I love you, brother. I hope everything ended up well. But we lost him in downtown Atlanta at 3 a.m. He survived. He's a fucking survivor. I'm just saying, he made it happen. He's
not going to give up. He's not going to stop. He's going to work harder.
If he's not singing "Eye of the Tiger," I want to hear about it. Which, oddly enough, dude from Survivor sang the Real Men of Genius ads.
Yes, he did. Crazy Horse. It was Crazy Horse. That was what it was.
Dude, they used to advertise on 106.5 back in the day.
I know. So I'm not going to wait till Sean gets back because...
How do I morph my rolling R's into a horse's neigh? More like a horse's yay.
It's a horse's yay. That was my fry. Did you get that link I sent you? The YouTube video of Miles Kennedy singing?
I haven't listened to it, but I've got the link.
What a motherfucker. By the way, the best singer that's still alive in rock music.
Jello Biafra.
He would be the only, if Soundgarden did a reunion and they cast him to do it, I would say, fine. That's acceptable. That's how good he is.
So you weren't a fan of fucking Carlisle? Who was it?
Belinda Carlisle?
Belinda, yeah.
Huh?
What?
So I was watching a tribute show to Soundgarden, and I think it was Belinda Carlisle who did the lead singer. And I was like, I'm just not.
I saw like they did a couple where I think Dave Grohl did Rusty Cage with them and did a decent job.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Hold on.
Can't wait for. It was Crazy Horse, Sean.
Fucking love fucking Rusty Cage.
So Josh and his two
You're my crazy horse, Sugarfly, baby.
lovely African American roommates at the time. They went to Crazy Horse. Like, you should come out with us. I'm like, fuck it, I don't have anything else to do. So we went to Crazy Horse, and this chick who looks kind of like Gabrielle Union says, "You need a dance?" And I'm like, "I'm out of money." And I was actually out of money. And she goes, "This one's on the house because you're cute." And I'm like, cool. Sit back, let her do her thing. She's doing her thing for a couple minutes. She goes, "I got to dance really good for you tonight." And I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because my mom's over there watching." And I went, and she pointed, and I looked over kind of in horror and disgust. And this older black lady goes, and I kind of sat there like very flaccid the rest of the time, if I'm honest. This is just...
Have I told you what my Southern rock band's gonna be named?
What?
CWD?
Dixon Any.
The Any Chicks? This is the longest we've ever had a podcast to almost 3 hours.
Still
I think liquor may be catching up. I accidentally researched things.
Accidentally. Yeah. For the viewers, accidentally.
Yeah.
Just continue.
I was
Listeners.
I was trying to figure out what you were saying of like who's covering for Chris Cornell, and I just started clicking buttons, and it's
me.
What I ended up finding out was that one of the originating members of Soundgarden, Hiro Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't remember him at all. Like,
He was a bass player.
Right. And it's like, what is he doing now? He's a fucking PhD chemist. Mm-hmm. What the
the hell, Dexter Holland?
Yeah.
Never. So it's like, hey, trivia.
I don't think he knew that.
I had no fucking clue.
But you know that Dexter Holland from The Offspring was a PhD chemist?
not
biologist.
I actually
singer.
did know that.
Yeah.
Biologist.
But
But it's still like
he's a fucking genius.
Dr. Punk Rocker. Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
He wrote it off for the 10th time today, but he did it anyway.
That was just that prescription, though.
Nice. A chief of organic chemistry at Edge Analytical in Burlington, Washington.
State or DC?
I so wanted to
the
hear
state, yeah.
Vermont.
I was not expecting that at all.
That's a very pretty
Yeah,
place.
Chris Cornell started out in Soundgarden in '84 as the drummer and singer.
What?
He was the drummer and singer.
I know
Because
very
Kim
little
played
about.
Because Kim played guitar and Hero played bass. Chris drummed and sang.
I mean, see, that's the thing. Is like I knew Chris, I knew Kim, but I had no idea about Euro. I mean,
Because Ben
can't
Shepard didn't start until '89.
barely sing.
I think Louder Than Love. I think he was the bass player on that. I think.
I made myself old by thinking.
Because we are.
I think liquor's starting to catch up with me too. But I live here.
We've had
so-
like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10%ers.
well, and
Well, you're the only one drinking that.
I know, but I have the shortest commute to the bed.
Well,
It's
I
a
mean,
10-minute. It's a 10-foot walk.
It's all relative. How long is it going to take
How
you to make
slow you
I
gotta
mean-
walk here,
I mean,
man?
in Alabama, all sex is relative.
Bum, bum, bum.
Ancestry.com, the #1 dating site in Alabama.
Dude.
that? Yeah. I've been there before. It's pretty, but it's a lot different than most people would assume. Kind of like Arkansas. There are mountains in Arkansas. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
Yeah,
No,
but there's also
Birmingham's
places
lovely.
that are 118 degrees in the summer, and it hurts. It's so hot.
It shouldn't
I know.
hurt to breathe.
I had to
Right?
I had to go to a job site
Dude,
in
I don't care
New
if it's
Mexico,
summer. It always
and
does.
it was 116 degrees, and I was up in a bucket for
Celsius?
8 hours. No,
What?
no. And I went through 20 bottles of water and 5 things of Gatorade, and I never had to pee.
Yeah,
That was hot.
yeah.
That sounds hot.
I've been in a chemical plant like where there's like 90 pounds
I've never-
steam, and I'm like, hey, it's weird that I've had nine waters in 4 hours and literally have not pissed yet. This is
Well, the
really
problem
strange.
with where I was, it was a dry heat, so like I wasn't even sweating; it just was evaporating out of my body. Whereas in Louisiana or
What was
something
this,
like that,
Arizona?
New Mexico, it was
Yeah.
Loco Hills,
like
New
their
Mexico. It's literally crazy hills.
Yeah.
dude. The wet heat
I
is
rather
so
enjoy-
fucking terrible.
I would rather the 116 than 82 in Louisiana.
Yeah. I rather enjoyed New Mexico that
Albuquerque.
my introduction to
If you like
dry
me.
heat, I rather enjoy not sweating. Like, this could prove fatal, and I really don't care.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Vegas yet, I do recommend it. There's a shit ton to do outside of just
I
gambling.
I haven't been to Vegas
Or Reno.
legally
Reno's
allowed
cheaper.
to gamble.
Reno-
Back in the
Reno's
day, it was all buffets and video arcades.
You want the blue stuff or the pink stuff?
Wait.
Pink, duh.
Vegas vacation?
Yeah. The out of the way
Spit on
war.
it.
Oh, that's right. You want some?
And that
Yeah,
same
the-
guy takes all his money. The
I'm,
dude from
totally different
Princess
penny
Bride.
slots.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
fucking Vegas
Inconceivable.
vacation.
Oh, Wallace Shawn is that guy's name.
So with Vegas vacation, one of my favorite things is when they come back and it's like pick a number.
4, 7.
Damn it! And it's just like, really? How did this happen?
They had the good fortune to make that movie when Keno was becoming a thing,
Yeah.
and then it vanished, and then every other ad of my ways is Keno. Like, how and why and what the hell is going on here? That
You can
Keno
go play
is
Keno
still
in
popping up.
in bars.
Like,
So I'm
like,
gonna
I'm
nerd
waiting
the
for
fuck out.
Saucer Keno. Like, fuck your trivia.
Can you be
I
the
want to
Keno
play
speaker?
Saucer Keno.
So I'm gonna nerd
Keno
the fuck
diet?
out on you guys. And what is his name? Wallace. What was his
Wallace
name?
Shawn.
Wallace Shawn. He was the Grand Nagus in Star Trek DS9.
Yes.
Just saying.
I don't know what
no.
any of what you just said
Dude,
is.
I know,
I
but
do.
but
This
I'm
sounds kinda
bringing in
racist.
more
What was
different.
this?
Yeah, it's
different-
fine. It's
different,
cool.
Stereotypes.
DS9 was the
audience members.
No,
DS9 was
that.
the third or fourth.
It's the terrible one.
Yeah, it was okay.
Wallace Shawn was also...
It's not the best one by
It's
far.
He was
very
also
much
in
not
It's not the
Clueless.
Phantom
It's
Menace
good.
Star Trek.
I forgot
That
he
was when they had the
Clueless.
space station.
Yeah, there was like a permanent space station, and they couldn't like fly anywhere.
I mean,
boring.
They
Space Station 1, 2, 3, or 4.
They had a lot of things happen.
They had a lot of things happen to them.
Oh yeah, you don't like stars.
Anything with Star in it. Star Trek, Star
Starion.
Wars, Star
What?
Search. I like Starions.
I like Star Search. And everyone got quiet.
Dude,
3.25 stars.
It's before our time. I think it was negative quarter stars.
Have you ever seen a Power Glove in real life?
I did. I have also. Have you seen the power pad?
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing for like the
ground.
Olympics and stuff.
Steve and I
And you
called...
just do this.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to get-
We called
Not
the
a hurry to get
1-900
of those.
number on there on air one time. Nobody picked up. Unfortunately, I was hoping somebody would go Power Glove. But what the fuck?
Is that still a thing?
Really?
Yeah.
If I was Nintendo,
What's-
I would pay
look-
one
look at
person.
this.
Yes,
to man that
absolutely,
line.
Poster with
absolutely.
directions.
And you know what? If that number ever goes out, if it ever goes, the number you have reached is no longer in service. We're buying that 1-900 number, and we're going to sync it to my phone. And anytime somebody calls, Power Glove. Yeah. Hey. What, do you need troubleshooting help?
It's like, yeah, it's not working anymore.
Are you?
I
from
need a
the
replacement.
Are you from the past? Kind of. Aren't we all?
Obviously.
It's only lasted 40-something years. Jesus.
Unless you're not from the future or the present, you're from the past.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First, let's look at this. That's a complicated bunch of bullshit. They got to put like power glove. All right, here's June sunglasses. Dude, it's dark. You don't need to wear
It's Corey
sunglasses.
Hart.
Is it really?
No.
No.
Maybe
Damn it. You had me convinced. I was like, Corey Hart has changed.
It
the,
is
the
white
glove
dude
has
from
so
the
much
80s.
power that you need the sunglasses.
It never worked. It
There's
didn't
like
work when it
Haim
was
that
new.
died.
There's
Whatever.
15 buttons on this
You're not
fucking
filming.
thing.
I don't care.
It didn't work right when it was brand new. Like it was fucking horrible. But it does kind of look like a sex toy from The Fifth Element. So
Lulu Dallas multipass.
Multipass?
I mean,
I doubt I could fit it on my hand.
this was fun to play Punch Out with, and that's it. Because it was the only game that required.
I don't think
that.
you can fit it on my hand.
I assure you, you can fit it on your hand. Just go slowly and look me in the eye when you put it on. I have the Gumby body. I have really long arms and legs and a short torso.
Whoa!
Where's my pokey?
Hey.
I'm on the opposite spectrum. It's
It
like
lives on
I
as
have
an SGK.
I have a very long torso and short, tiny legs.
That's my
which
problem.
makes it very difficult to run a mile and get the presidential medal.
You don't want the presidential medal now.
Fuck no, not now.
Thought you could fit it.
You're in the mile in 20
That's
minutes.
surprising.
You get a medal.
It's mine now.
It looks very uncomfortable on you to the point of
Jokes on you. You need the sensor bar for it too. Like this is
Brian
needlessly complicated.
Brian has the headphones off.
You're still mic'd. Take off the headphones while you see fit.
Go ahead. Say what's in your
That
mind.
guy in a little glove.
Oh, it's not fat guy in a little coat. It's like I don't even. It's like it's like when you put your hand in something and it's made for a toddler.
A Pringles
It
can.
doesn't fit and it just doesn't work and it's just sad.
Are you saying Sean has girthy forearms?
Well, I would say that, but also I'm the kind of guy that has short, stubby, girthy, brute force type fingers that can destroy worlds. Yeah.
Dave Matthews' fingers stretch 9 frets on a guitar.
Fuck Dave
What?
Matthews
What's
and
that in
everybody that
inches?
looks him.
How on earth was he ever single?
So
He'll be the
Dave
best of lesbians.
I have a virtual boy at home. I might have to bring that up.
Well, dude, wait, what?
Virtual boy. Look, there's the third
Dude,
fret. His
you're like
stretch
2 of the
9
4.
frets. His one hand can stretch from the 3rd fret to the 12th, and mine only goes to there.
So what's happening is a very awkward modeling of a guitar. But what you should see there is that you do not want Dave Matthews to crash into you. That is the thing you need to take away from this.
Obviously, he makes me envy the deaf.
I mean, there's some of the stuff is pretty good.
Not rock.
No, it was the.
It's like high ass music.
It's college rock. That was a good yawn.
Wow.
Yeah. That's your
Cut that
bedtime.
out.
Raise your hand if you got up this morning at 4:30 a.m. You didn't.
I was still awake then, so
it-
whatever.
That's
It
true.
was
Well,
fi-
Steve wins. Steve wins. He's got the shittiest schedule.
It was 5:30 for me.
Eastern.
Yes.
I don't often think of suicide, but this job helps.
Also, guys, just so you know, this Sunday, change your clocks back.
Yes.
Spring forward.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dude,
we lose.
It was the best thing G-Dub did.
Wait, what? Oh, so weird segue. Time zones. How crazy are they?
Time
if you're in
zones-
Rhode Island, you're fucked.
Time zones acceptable. Time changes not acceptable. Keep it one way or the other, and I don't care which way it is.
Well, here's what's fucked up. Indiana, there are certain cities that don't change their time.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
And they're like Indiana and Arizona.
Oregon.
Don't observe.
Arizona is a state.
Oregon's the whole state too. They
Yeah.
don't. They don't
But
do.
Indiana,
Like,
there
they
are
have everything else
cities that
better.
don't change.
Do you want to remind the viewers who Indiana elected as their governor at one point?
Ugh.
Mike Pence.
Wow.
That makes complete sense now, doesn't it? That they
so-
would elect that guy.
Anyway, On to the next. China has one time zone. It stretches 6 of Russia's 9.
Huh.
Yeah. Think about that.
As a libertarian, I don't believe the government should allow people to feel to elect the time. The government should not allow me to tell me who the time is. It is.
I think voting should be mandatory. You should be made to vote. And it should be on the same day.
I hate you so much.
And I don't care about rights. You should be made to vote for somebody or something.
I think if you choose to vote, it should be a holiday.
Yeah, it should be a national holiday, and it should be on a Saturday.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fair enough.
The first part was a joke, just to ruffle Brian's feathers.
It worked.
The second part was absolutely true. It should be a national holiday. It should be a Saturday.
Agreed.
So people
the
can
majority
actually
of the population
do it.
Oh my God! Could you imagine how drunk people would be before they voted?
Great.
Oh my
Even
God!
better. Drunks. Hey,
Could you imagine what third party, maybe libertarian, could be elected if that were to happen?
hopefully it's not Gary fucking Johnson.
Fucking love Gary.
And then
He's
and
a
then you woke
space
up.
cadet.
Wait,
I don't think any other people should,
was space.
commit to those kind of things. Just saying.
I don't think
to
there was a
space?
good choice at all
Of what?
3 years ago.
I kind of like Gary. He's kind of crazy. If you're gonna
Not
go
a
crazy,
good kind of crazy.
I have an
everyone has
Uncle
been
Gary and he's
bullshitting.
crazy.
Everyone about bullshitting about oh my God, we can't elect a libertarian. They'll put somebody who's somebody from the coal lobby in charge of the EPA. Huh? Look what happened.
I'm so socialist that I'm just leaving a $20 bill on my sidewalk every day.
Right, a socialist in a capitalist economy. It's very easy for that to be.
Capitalism is the downfall of Western society.
Can I interject?
I
Hey,
believe differently.
can I interject?
You
Yes.
can.
I am very close to my 5th plate. I think I know what my quote is going to be.
Ooh,
What is it?
I don't know.
like I don't know.
He just
is
said
the quote.
he thinks. He didn't say he knew.
So I have not made
There's a couple
my-
good ones up there.
So when we're talking about plates, for people who are not in the flying saucer community,
The Flying Saucer alum.
so I'm close to my first plate. A plate is 200 unique beers tried at a very specific facility that has maybe 30 or 40 beers on tap.
Try again.
Yeah,
60 beers on tap?
Try again.
Yeah, it's
80-ish.
It's 80 or
80 to
82.
90.
Yeah, not on tap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Count 'em
the
next
tap
time.
wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's about another 100,
Count them next
120
time, rookie.
bottle
Jerry
You don't
cans.
come as
Shit
much
you
as
don't
you
wanna
used
drink.
to.
You're probably not wrong.
Happens when you get married. You don't come as much. No.
Oh.
I'm not married yet.
He's the
Awkward
next
7
closest. He's
seconds
the one that's
quiet.
engaged. I'm already married. I'm half dead.
And so I have not hit my 200th mark, but once you hit 200, you get a plate on the wall and a party.
Got engaged
So
and
you
practically married,
spent
too.
probably 3 beers, $7 a beer.
It's roughly between 1,500 and 2,000.
We did the math. If you tipped the bare minimum,
If you
it would be a $1,200 every plate.
well, so it's more than that unless you go on
Just Monday.
right.
Yeah. And
So-
now that ransom went up too.
Yeah, to 4. I saw that. Anyway, so it's rough with tipping and getting food and extra beers. You're going to spend between $1,500 and $2,000 per plate,
The trick is not to eat. And I've
Yep.
or go only when
Dude,
specials.
that's what I've been saying for the longest, and the latest price hike is further proof.
I'm not paying $8 for one pretzel.
Wait, they're increasing the price of the pretzel too.
Dude,
The pretzel's like $9 now. It used to be $6.
I don't ever remember. It being
It's just
six.
it's just
just-
bread and cheese
No.
and
And-
no.
and a
They
rock.
nuke
And-
that shit in the microwave. That shouldn't be that complicated.
But it's delicious.
Dude, my pacemaker is so pissed off at me right now.
Has to work overtime.
If I would have known I would have lived till 33, I would have taken better care of myself.
I need something to drink.
And the liquor bottle is handed from.
Dude, that was half full or empty
Yeah.
depending on your.
It's-
It's fine. I'm a pro. I'm used to doing this.
So while you were out, AJ,
Mm-hmm.
I begged the question: what is the worst vehicle situation that you lived with. And for me, it was lack of internal lights on the fucking Chevy Nova, so you couldn't tell how fast you were going. What I didn't get to say is my headrest.
Speak up.
My headrest completely fell down till it touched the top of my hair.
Oh,
that's
fucking Chevrolet.
Oh, the
Celebrity.
headliner.
Yeah.
The headliner.
Headliner.
My Camaro did the same thing.
It was, and so I
had half the roof, too.
I stapled it up,
Nice.
Wait
which
a minute.
worked for 15 minutes until the staples came out. And when you sat back into the fucking thing, little fucking staples in your back. It was fucking terrible.
I will raise you.
You got the tetanus.
Here we.
from it.
I was hoping you would.
I will
Look,
raise you.
The Camaro had T-tops, though,
Yes.
so that's half.
That's why I said half the roof.
This
But it
is
still was
fun.
annoying.
So Toby and I had back-to-back shows one night. Thursday was in town. Friday was kind of in town. Saturday was in Greenville, South Carolina, and then I had to work the next day. So we had a Greenville,
So go
South
to
Carolina,
Greenville,
9
North
to
Carolina.
midnight at Mac's Speed Shop.
fucking love Max.
Yeah. I had to work 6:30 a.m. the next
Voice is better.
You say that, but I'm hoping to get some tips.
Midwood.
Midwood's great. By the way,
Midway's
the wings at Pizza Joint Matthews Pizza Peel,
Pizza Peel.
the wings are fucking nominal.
You know, I've
Teriyaki,
listened to a
it's
lot of your
teriyaki
podcasts, and
teriyaki
there's
buffalo.
a disproportionate amount of time you talk about wings.
Buffyaki.
What's
They,
going
they
there a
on?
actually
problem
do
with that?
talk about wings.
I'm just trying to understand.
We love wings.
Dude, either you like chicken wings or you're wrong. Therefore, my fiance is wrong.
This,
Yeah.
by the way, is my Hawaiian orchid.
Ooh.
That's your
He's
stripper.
showing
name.
us
Is
a
that proper
picture
support?
of leather-covered tip. I don't know what do you say to that.
Just the
It's
tip.
an automotive bra.
There. Is that better? Is that less distracting?
The leather-covered tip messed me up a little bit, and it was a dark purple color.
Yes.
Durple.
Durple.
He said it and laughed. So back shows. We play in Greenville 9 to midnight. We get a $50 tip from a lady who I'm pretty sure thought it was a $5 because she stumbled up and threw it in the tip jar. So we're driving home in the Jeep, and every 30 seconds from Spartanburg to Charlotte, my headlights would go out
You don't need those.
on the interstate.
You can have the moon.
So that'll wake you up in a hurry. After I had to work the next mornings. So work Wednesday, and then work Thursday morning, play Thursday night, work Friday morning, play Friday night, work Saturday morning, play Saturday night, work Sunday morning. So Sunday morning, 2 a.m. on the way home, lights keep going off, and then coming back on 5 seconds later, going out. So I just kept driving because it's 85 and it's mostly straight. But you know what? That'll sober you up in a hurry. And then after getting home and in the that morning before I went to work, Googling the issue. Oh yeah, Jeep's the headlight switch. After a little while, it just gets old. You have to replace it. If your headlights are turning on and off randomly, replace that. $20 later, haven't had a problem since. Jeep stands for just empty every pocket, but it will run forever and ever and ever and ever. So I just hit 330,000 miles in the Jeep, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. I will be buried in that thing. It has so much character. It's my right-hand man. It's my Vanessa Qua. It's my thing. I love it.
Do you say
Vanessa?
Vanessa?
Vanessa Carlton?
It's je ne sais
I
quoi.
would walk 1,000 miles if it would break down.
So I was looking at other pictures. I know you love your cereal.
I love cereal.
Mini wheats were on sale once, and we bought a.
I like mini wheats.
We
I
literally-
love
we-
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
We
By the
literally
way,
had like 8 boxes of it.
Special K maple brown sugar is absolutely to fucking die for.
You hear that, General Mills?
Give me money.
Do you hear that, Aldi? There's a flavor. Give it to me at a third the cost.
We ate the Malto meal cereals that were on the bottom shelf in the big bags.
fucking love those things.
Wait,
It tastes the same.
They toss exactly the
That's-
Psalms.
They what? They toss
exactly the
They
Psalms
toss the song. They toss it.
because they're made by the same people. It's just like the Planters, like peanuts, and then the Harris Teeter brand peanuts.
You shut your whore mouth.
Bottled by Planter,
No.
or canned by Planters.
No Harris Teeter here. Only Zool.
It's literally right there.
Oh my God.
So when he said, "Oh my God," and planted the bottle of liquor down,
And he
it's
sighed
because
heavily.
there's one or two fingers left when there was a total fist before we started this fucking competition.
It's a reverse warming up. You're supposed to go fingers then fist, not fist then fingers. What's going on here?
You gapped it.
I did.
Wait, what's the
Look,
Vulcan?
no. Teaser, pleaser, shocker, the spocker, the showstopper. You want the spocker tonight, honey?
Describe
anything
what
else
just
would-
happened for people who aren't here.
Anything else would be illogical.
Fingers were held up in specific order.
And these were not spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers.
Fucking jazz hands, just
Jazz
happening.
hands, jazz fingers. Guys, we are over 3 hours now.
We're over.
We're over 3 hours.
Cut.
This was a pretty successful
It's not the trivia, so it doesn't matter.
first time having guests, and could not be happier that it was with two of our closest good jamming friends right here, Mr. Sean Preston and Mr. Bryan Kirkman. Thank you guys for coming out here.
It's been our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Very much.
I don't care if
And-
it wasn't yours. We
Yep.
still had fun.
It was absolutely our pleasure. I'm getting scraped to death by my zipper right now. So, well,
This is the last time you go commando, isn't it?
He broke through to the other side.
I fucking hate Jim Morrison. What did I tell you about slamming doors in this house?
Dude, doors plus B-52s is the funniest thing ever. Courtesy of Dana Gould.
Yep,
There's
absolutely.
the killer on the road. Get out of that road, you silly toad.
Break on through to the other side. Well, for the CBG Pod episode number 28, I've been AJ.
I've been Sean.
I've been Brian.
And I'm still Stevie.
And we are done. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on Libsyn, cbgpod.libsyn.com and facebook.com/cbgpod. We're out. We're done. Guys, see you later in episode 29 in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Deuces.
Later.
See ya.
Toodles.